last week, I spent most of my time researching. Of course, that was after a strange man popped out of a portal, similar to what we did, and we had to fight some ghoulies. Of course, he almost died upon meeting us. I'm sure that went over well for him in his mentality. Then, yes, I studied a lot. We ended up deciding to go to Jester's Land, I think. That's the name of the city. But
Yes.
before we headed off on our way, we had to do a quick bit of shopping for a wagon, some horses, and supplies for the road.
And some wheels.
And yes, 10 wheels. And we are now off on our great adventure in full. Prologue complete.
For bonus points, do you remember the horses' names?
Licorice, I think? No, that's the act.
One of them was named
It was Chocolate and...
Was I there for the finalized names of the horse?
Was it
I
Chocolate?
think it
I don't think so.
Nikki, you named them. What were they? It was Chocolate and...
She's eating popcorn.
I can grab. Hold on. I thought for like just a second, but I came back in time to hear that. Cookie and chocolate.
Cookie, that was it. I knew it was something to do with another sweet item, but I couldn't think of it.
I am shocked it's not cookies and cream.
They were both brown horses.
Yeah.
Cream can be brown.
Okay.
Anyway. Prologue complete. As he shuts his... Because I guess he's Bilbo Baggins now.
What's running in there, Einar?
No, this? Well, someone has to document what happens.
Ha! That's a
Back
damn
where I
right
came
clever
from,
idea.
Back where I came from, we had these individuals called skalds, similar to a bard.
Huh, well that's an ear skull, you say, eh?
Yep.
You kind of write down them heroic adventures of your people.
That they do. And then they make a lot of money after the sales and the book tour. But this isn't for money. This is important.
I suppose it's a good idea to know where we've been to figure out where we're going.
Exactly. Plus, let me get it this way. In the past, have there ever been any stories written by an omen themselves?
Huh.
About traveling with other omen?
You know, I am uncertain about that. Evelyn, have you heard anything like that with your whole schooling and such?
I've read many books, but anything of records, I don't believe
Roll me
so.
a history check.
Okay. Okay. Let me fucking press because this shit's being weird. All right, let's see. There we go. And here we are.
Ooh, good roll.
19.
You know that there are probably books written by sins and virtues in the past, but you'd be very hard pressed to find them. They're quite coveted and kept as sacred texts, mostly within the cathedral of Chast.
I don't believe I've read any personally, but I've heard of a few.
Well, I don't think they're too easy to get your hands on, then. And again, I am a country bumpkin from the north. What do I know?
Well, probably about as much as I am a country pumpkin from the south.
Aren't you
Indeed.
both islands?
I don't know about Marcus, but I am.
What were you asked? Sorry, Evelyn, what was that?
Are you mainland or?
I believe I'm mainland, aren't I, Storm?
Depends. The south is split up into. It eventually kind of cuts off, and although it's still part of Marvelon, it splits up into like a peninsula of islands, and that makes up kind of part of the Shurai Islands, the Draconic Islands. A bunch of different races have their own kind of section towards the south.
No, fair enough.
So south is it's kind of like fragmented. It kind of like the main island kind of like splits into, and then past that is the desert and the various islands.
Hey, well, I'd imagine my guy's probably not from the islands, but since he's been walking all his life. Yeah, I'm from the mainlands down there.
I don't know. I suppose I was just wondering if maybe that even counts as being country coming from an island. I mean, I don't believe it would be anything other, but I suppose it's all semantics.
I suppose you count as an islander at that point, but I don't really know the difference.
Me neither. I just always associated, I guess, that term with fields and mountains and valleys and larger land in general, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I mean, it's all semantics. I know geology, but I'm not entirely sure about sociology? I believe so. Whatever. It's about the communes of people. Not entirely too sure, but I'm sorry. We're going off topic here a little. But yeah, no, I don't believe there's any real or accessible records. Unless you were to be somebody who were to particularly look. That in the chast, that is.
I suppose you're right there. Well, in any case, as you say, semantical and all that, but a bumpkin's a bumpkin, I suppose, no matter where they're born. Says
Yeah, you two boys are definitely a peculiar type. Just kind of smiles.
Marcus smells back, goes, well, as my ma used to say, never be ashamed of what you or where you're born from.
Smart woman.
Yeah, she was, one of the few, honestly, good pieces of advice she gave me as a kid.
Her expression kind of changes a little bit from something a little bit more happy to a bit of concern, and she's... Well, I don't know exactly how your parents were, but, surely they were a bit more involved, no?
There... Put it bluntly there, Miss Evelyn, my parents, Bob, involved, do you mean like, taking a hand in the rearing, or do you mean like, involved as in like, hey, here's your dinner, get back to work when you're done?
What was the first one that he said?
Like, there for the rearing, like, taking care of the kid.
Oh. Then I suppose you just kind of... I suppose the first?
Yeah, they were more of the second. Yeah. Nothing against them, that's literally how most of the people were like in my village. The kids were there to make sure more farm work was done. Hell, you had kids just so you could get more hands on the farms.
Her eyes kind of... not necessarily slant per se, but her eyebrows kind of tint a little bit as she seems to be, the concern almost deepens. And she's just, well, I'm sorry. The area that you seem to have grown up in is rather, I suppose, rowdy is the descriptor I would use.
When you say the word rowdy, Marcus gives you kind of an odd head tilt. Rowdy? You mean like energetic and exciting, or do you mean like something else?
I've never really heard rowdy to be used in a positive context, so I meant the latter. More like chaotic, crass, things like that.
Well, I wouldn't call it chaotic and crass. Mundane be a better word from where I came from.
Oh, interesting. You made it sound so more, disorderly.
Really? Like, are you thinking where have I talked much about my own home? I mean, I've talked about my master a lot.
I don't believe so, no.
You see, there's a difference. My life with my master was pretty much the 180 from my life back in my hometown. I mean, back in my hometown, all we literally did was farm. Pull the weeds, milk the cow, that sort of thing, day in, day out. Paid our taxes and woke up with the sun and went back to bed when it dipped.
Routine.
Pretty much.
Sounds boring.
You, when you say that, Marcus just gives you this pained look of like, oh god, like, you have no idea, my friend.
Wait, where are we all currently? Sorry.
On the wagon, I'm assuming at this point.
Yeah, you're on the wagon traveling. You've only been traveling like you barely left town limits, so like it's about 10 minutes away.
Got it. Okay.
Can we get a wagon thing so we can
Wagon.
a sheet with our wagon on it so we can put stuff in it?
Sure.
Thanks. Just so we can keep track of things.
Like our
my
10 wheels.
Candy will pipe up actually with the conversation.
So is it basically like with your hometown? You just did, well, farming constantly?
Well, more or less, yeah. It's taking care of cows, chickens, tilling fields, picking rocks.
What do you do for fun?
Milk cows, take care of chicken, picking up rocks. Yeah,
Nods her head.
fun wasn't exactly a mandatory thing where I came from.
Oh, what?
It kind of tilts head.
Oh, that's not fun stuff.
Generally, I would say not. Though I suppose there were those in the farming community who enjoyed it.
Huh.
I was not one of them, I will admit. I suppose the most fun we had is once a year we did have a gather and dance sort of thing to celebrate the harvest, but that was about it, honestly.
I guess that sort of makes sense. You do seem the more spontaneous type, so liking new things every day, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I like as I said, I didn't really feel like I was doing much with my life till I started meeting my master and went out to see the world. Yeah, bit like drudgery, honestly, when I was back home. Actually, honestly, I haven't been back since I was a kid.
So I guess you could say that your life essentially began with your master in a way.
You could definitely say that. Yeah, my life definitely more or less began with my master.
So I guess this is a sort of odd assumption to make, but you could say that he more or less kind of gave you your life purpose?
Marcus kind of smiles. Gave might be a bit of a strong word, but yeah, that might be a way to put it.
Well, I'm sorry if I offended.
No offense. The only reason I said gave might not be the right word. It was more of I had to kind of take that purpose, to be honest.
Oh, right. right.
Yeah, my master did not wish to train me until well, let's just say I was a bit more, forceful in my desire to be his pupil.
Okay. Well, I suppose I understand that, but...
So, did you like go to his house every day and like knock on his door constantly until he let you in?
Well, let's see here. I would suppose the first time, I says after I saw him, he was in the inn, and I went to go beg him to let me join. He then beat the crap, told me no, and when I refused to leave, he kind of beat the crap out of me and then threw me out of the inn. I went back the next day and asked again, where he promptly looked at me, getting annoyed by my constant persistence, and this time knocked me unconscious for 4 days, and then I discovered he had left the village, and then I hunted him down to once again beg to be his pupil.
Oh wow, you really wanted that, huh?
Yeah, that actually was the last day I saw my home.
Nods her head, interested in the story.
In any case, after that, he took me under his wing and taught me what he knew. Apparently, he admired my persistence in the end.
Kind of puts a hand to her chin for a moment and just kind of almost in thinking before kind of returning her hands to her elbows and just so I guess in that particular case you went forward and never quite turned back.
Yeah, that'd be a way to put it. Honestly, I just never had a desire to go back. It's just kind of behind me, I suppose. I suppose if I ever wandered down my hometown again, I mean, nice to see where my folks and my siblings are like, but I mean, not even sure if the town's there anymore, honestly.
Can I insight him as to whether or not he really don't miss his place back at home?
Sure, you can insight. Roll that.
Yeah. That's an 11. I hate it here.
I mean, with an 11, you'd kind of look at him like, I mean, he genuinely seems to not care.
She kind of nods.
Before we succinctly begin our first chapter in this adventure, I think we should stop by the shrine one final time.
The shrine?
Yes,
Why?
just trust me on it.
Well, if you say so.
Ooh, secrets.
Let's just say a little bit of a test.
Like a right taste?
Test.
No, I don't think it's going to be a writing test. Perhaps a martial challenge.
Huh, no
Perhaps a
kidding.
challenge of wit. I guess we'll find out when we get there.
Suppose so.
Kind of looking at Einar, does he seem to be excited, or what's happening?
He's probably embellishing it a little.
Embellishing.
You can insight for further.
Alright.
Yeah, Marcus will take a peek at that. He's curious.
Candy is just accepting we're going to a test.
Well, let me just whisper this over to Storm really quick.
Oof.
He has no idea why, but he wants to go. I mean, he knows why, but he has no idea what there is over there.
Well, let's take a peek, I guess. Can't hurt. Come on, Cookie and Chocolate. Giddy up.
As you kind of make your way down the road, eventually reaching to the spot where the path kind of veers off, you notice that it's probably a little bit slightly narrow for the wagon to get through. You could probably get through, but funnily enough, those wheels might come in handy if you decide to bring the wagon along.
I mean, what do you guys think?
Well, I mean, we could go on by foot and leave our new friend, who seems to be a bit tired, to watch the wagon, if you think.
We got plenty of spare wheels. I don't think we're gonna go through all of them before we get to Justice Landing.
Marcus looks at the massive stack of wheels in the back of the wagon. Yeah, probably not, I'd guess, unless I am a very bad driver.
Let's
Damien
hope you're
offered
not.
that he can take watch over the
Horses
thingy,
and wagon.
the wagon. Yeah.
See, Damien's got it. I think we just easier going by foot.
I found us a nice wagon photo, by the way, everybody.
I see.
Well, on foot it is, I suppose.
Yeah, probably easiest.
I think I'm just getting to used to not using my feet. Oh, all right.
You should never get used to that.
Kind of tilts her head.
I mean, you could still not use your feet, just do a handstand.
Yeah, like this. And Marcus will flip upside down and start walking on his hands.
Candy will do the same.
She gives them both a questionable look before a little bit of a smirk kind of comes on her face and flashes a quick glance over in Einer's direction before walking ahead.
I'd like a strength. Are you guys doing it for the entire way to the shrine?
Marcus was just doing a quick acrobatics kind of handstand walk and then
Okay.
moving.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Eventually make your way towards the shrine. And as before, the kind of shadows kind of reef from the statue. And before you stands the younger appearance of Dimir as she kind of greets you all. Ah. Okay. Well, I wasn't really expecting this, but I guess you're here then.
I'm confused. It kind of looks back over towards Einar. So
It was just an offer.
what
I
are you
guess.
doing here though.
I have a test. It's well, considering what you might be facing and perhaps what the possible dangers are when you eventually seek to discover your powers. Perhaps I can offer a test to gauge your abilities. For a reward, of course, depending on how you do.
I'm not entirely sure if that's something that we would do. I mean, do remind me, the previous time that we got fucking jumped by ghost shadow things, we healed from all of that, right? I could have sworn we took a rest after that.
Yes.
Yeah, we've had a long rest since our last fight.
Yeah, you guys have had a long rest.
Just forgot to count that. Thank you. Also, is my mic still quiet, Nikki?
A little, but a little better, kind of.
To any of y'all?
Yeah, it was. That's why I kept asking what you said. I could barely hear you at times.
Fuck! 1 second.
You're fine. Fine for me. Just
I mean,
slightly.
Everybody's kind of robot-y for me.
Technology is weird. I could try
Everyone's
my
fine
shit
for
up,
me.
but I mean, up until then, you probably just want to edit me on Discord.
I mean, I've already got you maxed out.
Same.
I can hear him just fine. He's on 100% for me. Okay, now it's worse.
Yeah, it's really bad.
What the hell? Ah!
Okay, now that's fine.
Now you sound fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Just need to double check the server is in US East, yeah.
I don't think that controls volume, but
It does, and
it-
that'd be on his side personally.
perhaps.
It's connection based.
Yeah. Okay. Well, uh,
My connection is booty.
I suppose continuing on, kind of looking over towards Demira is just, and then looking back over towards Einar is just, this is what you wanted.
Well, she sent me a whisper.
Oh, Jesus.
Said to come here if we feel like taking one last test. And honestly, I felt like taking one last test.
I don't suppose you're incorrect. However, for at least 2 of us, one discounting because they are currently keeping watch, one of us has limited resources. That one being me.
I will replenish whatever resources as if you've had a night's rest once it's all done.
Marcus kind of looks over at Evelyn and kind of smacks her in the back. Don't worry, Miss Evelyn. I mean, you can always rest on the wagon on the way there. I'll do most of the driving.
Well, if you say so. Thanks, Marcus. Kind of gives him a light pat on the shoulder.
How about a candy? You ready to do some kind of crazy testing here?
I'm super ready.
Now, if I recall correctly, I know it said a test of wits, but I mean, what all does that entail? Or am I mistaken?
I didn't specify what type of test it was.
I said it could be a test of wits. Could be a test of strength.
I hope
Could be
it's a
test of
strength
how
one.
good we are at cooking.
You surmised that the 2 times that we've been fighting shadow monsters, you surmised that it could potentially be wits.
Yeah, you never know. People change things up.
A slowly growing smirk at you kind of continues to grow up until like that last remark. She just rolls her eyes and continues looking back at Demira. Well, is this test going to be taking place now? Because if so, I would like to maybe prepare a thing or two before we start.
Well, yes, soon. As soon as you're ready.
Well, that's the case. I know, I'm glad that you're ready to show us this test of yours, but you probably don't want to fail at it, do you? And she's going to give you a bardic inspiration.
No. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Danke.
Words. Well, yeah.
You know, Marcus will start rotating his shoulders and cracking his neck.
Candy is doing jumping jacks.
Alright, so the rules for this test. It will function like a normal combat situation, life or death. Essentially, were you to fall in mortality and lose your mortality and go from life into passing to that astral gate, I'm here to prevent that.
Got it. So we got
However-
a safety blanket.
Should that happen, you're no longer within the fight, and you shall sit and watch the others as they continue.
Well, sounds like a plan to me.
Does this mean we're gonna we might find out what it's like to die, but not actually die?
You know, I really didn't think that through, but yes.
Kind of like claps her hands with a curious twinkle in her eye.
That'll be interesting.
Evelyn doesn't say anything for a little bit of time before she seems to almost reanimate and kind of nods. Just, well, that's reassuring.
It's quite different. You won't actually be dying. You won't really see anything. It's more along the lines of blacking out, an unconsciousness.
Oh,
But it will be like dying with all the blood and pain and blah.
They. Perhaps less so.
Oh,
Marcus
okay,
just kind
that's
of
good.
rubs his chin. Is that dying or is that just training? Because that sounds familiar.
I was about to say.
She kind of gives you all a smile. So, are you all ready to begin?
Can Syl also come?
Of course.
Yay!
I'm ready when all you are.
And you all watch as this kind of shadowy kind of portal like opens up at like on either side of her, and it kind of is reefed in this gray twisting aura of shadowy mist as the grass kind of like turns into a grayscale like of grays and blacks, as these two kind of knights reefed in shadow, these black capes, this armor that almost looks kind of intangible and cracked in different places appear. And
I'm gonna step in the back while they rise.
feel free to place yourself wherever you like.
Let's put down my dog. Okay. So.
And I will show you what they look like.
Oh, fine.
Well, they were interesting looking.
Going to sit next to Marcus.
I want that helmet. Those are really cool helmets.
I kind of like the cape. I think it'll look really good billowing when I jump off of roofs.
I think both of you are forgetting that two of these things have emanated from shadows.
Shadow helmet.
Shadow cape.
They kind as they emerge from the portals, they both kind of draw their blades that are kind of like reaped in this like corporeal black shadow, and they kind of point it out towards you. To battle. And I'd like everyone to roll initiative.
We need the turn order up, good sir.
Woo!
Back.
Speedy Marcus boy. Of course, the backliners go first.
Yeah, why is my initiative so bad?
Okay.
Because you got a
Ollie's
plus
at
one
12
dex.
dex,
Ugh.
just like me.
Marcus. Jota.
Yeah, Marcus going first looks over, goes, well, let's see what these boys are made out of, and I will get within 30 feet.
Shadows, Marcus. This is already answered.
I think that's 30 feet. So that's 30 up. Yep. Yeah, that gets me in 30 feet. Then you got, let's see what we got! And pew pew pew! As he goes for his first two Radiant Bolts. Oof. There we go. There we go.
Both hit, dealing 14 points of radiant damage.
Oh, well, fuck that. I will flurry of blows it. Roll good damage today.
Okay, another 8 points of radiant damage as your radiant blasts just kind of strike out against this shadowy figure, just splashing it with as it kind of cuts into the shadow and kind of melts it away as it just kind of stands there, still looking towards you.
Well, that was
Seemingly
good.
hurt by this.
That was a good shot. You know, take my last 10 feet and move back.
Okay, Evelyn.
God fucking damn it. Let's see. Okay, I suppose I will. might actually be useful depending on everything that happens. Actually, it might very well become very useful. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go ahead and just with a quick moment, as if to prepare herself in her fighting, she quickly raises up a hand and wipes at her nose, but in that small bit of a gesture, she whispers in small incantation and will point it in the direction of this one. Can I get all the way there? Yeah, I can. I'm gonna use whispers that are indeed dissonant.
Okay.
Level.
So whiz save.
She did say that she was gonna go ahead and give me back my shit, so I think I might just go with the second level.
Okay.
Wisdom save indeed.
Saves.
Fuck!
Taking 9
8
points
or 9.
of
Yeah.
psychic damage.
Of course it succeeds. Of course it succeeds when it's finally going to run away from us and not towards Marcus.
As you watch as it just seemingly not really
Let
affected
it go.
by this, as it just stares down towards just like these eyes of just going this deep azure blue, just kind of staring down into the battlefield.
And I believe after that, because I don't trust these hoes, I'm gonna go ahead and just look over towards Candy, and it's just, you may not be able to get the helmet, but at least you'll be able to chop them through. Good luck. I'm gonna give that inspiration.
Yee! Both fists up in the air. Woo!
On their turns, one of the Shade Knights look towards the other as they kind of give a knowing nod as the other one, standing right in front of you, about 35 feet away, points his sword out towards you, and I need you to make a wisdom save.
Marcus? Oof.
Yep.
Oof.
Fails. You are now paralyzed as this shadowy kind of hold just kind of wraps around you, and this tendril of darkness just kind of holds you in place.
Good old person.
And this one is just going to... He's gonna rush over here. And he's going to make his attacks towards you.
Oh, fuck.
Thank you for... Yeah, this got brutal.
That
Marcus
is...
Amen.
15 points of slashing damage.
Oof.
Was that the first hit?
Yep. And the second one is 21 points of slashing damage.
No, I'm unconscious.
Oof.
Oh, that could have knocked anybody out in the party.
And that is their turns.
Hang on. My internet's been ass all day. Let me reload the page.
Oh, you're gonna move the guy next? Is the guy supposed to move next to me, or?
Oh, he did.
Oh, I guess I just didn't see it. Oh, just like I'll refresh.
Yeah, it's not showing on mine.
What is happening? It's done this before.
Yeah, it's not showing on ours.
Anyway, I'm gonna invoke Uvar. The all-seeing eye.
Wait a damn second. Couldn't you have done that for that saving throw from before? Or that
Me?
not Uvar,
No,
but
yes,
the
he has to
other one.
activate it. He didn't.
Oh, sad face.
Yeah. And that's my bonus act. So I'm gonna move up. Move over here. I'm gonna attack this boyo
Okay.
with my war hammer.
Oof.
That is indeed a miss, unfortunately, as you try to bring your warhammer down towards it and just kind of parries it as it brings his the shadowy sword away from Marcus's, just slashing into him.
You do have inspiration, my friend. Just saying.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, you'd have to roll the whole ass 6 in order to get close, or 5.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold on to it for now.
Yee.
Okay.
Hold on to it for when you probably also get paralyzed.
Candy.
What's
Woo!
Boogar's for?
Candy will rage.
Okay.
Let's hope you don't get what we both know you might get.
She'll like tilt her head back, screech out into the sky. She's like, "Let Marcus have a longer chance to play!" And roll.
Oh my god.
Yay.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, okay. I get teleportation, so bloop, right behind this thing. Or actually, no, right over here. I get that flanking.
Okay.
And swing this Great Axe Licorice down.
You gonna reckless it or normal it?
I have inspiration and I'm flanking, so not this time. So, and I will use my inspiration.
Okay.
Wait, what does flanking give me?
+2,
Plus
so that's an 11.
All right, so
Just gotta roll-
D6.
Just a roll of 1.
Ooh!
Just
Hits.
hit.
Rand dealing 19 points of slashing damage. As you just kind of bring your great axe slashing to, and you find Purchase deep into, and you can see it just carve away at some of the shadow that just kind of splits away and just kind of reforms back.
All right.
Almost makes the sound of metal as you kind of hit the armor as it reforms.
And this particular rage, a mix of light blue and dark blue whips of energy kind of spark off of her body. Manic grin on her face. All right, that's my turn.
As it kind of looks over towards you. Good hit. Marcus, death save.
17, success. I could really
Ellen.
use being picked up though.
Absolutely not. No. So. Ooh, knowing I could do something interesting, but like at the same time, I should probably be a little bit more conservative. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and pick Marcus back the fuck up. This time with a level 1 healing word. Here we go. 6 healing. It's the average. And immediately after. Because I know. The difficulties, the layer of difficulties that are beyond. Alright, yeah. I think. Me thinks she is going to. Yeah, just vicious mockery, this motherfucker.
Okay.
Remind me, when that thing attacked you, was it just slashing damage? What kind of damage was that?
Slashing.
It was slashing damage.
Okay. That's wonderful. Yeah, I'm going to vicious mockery that other one. Just point over towards it and say,
Which one?
This one.
Okay.
And it's just like, oh, well, too bad you were made out of shadows. Makes it not a real combat, you know? And, let's hope that fucking works.
Fails,
Yay!
but it takes 1 point of psychic damage.
Fuck! I hated
Did you see it falter for a moment and turn its attention towards Candy? As it turns its head.
I'm going to turn over here. Hope next, close to the fake Damien. Yeah.
I'll just remove him from the map.
And I believe that will be where I end my turn.
Okay. As it kind of looks towards Candy, and you hear the words kind of reefed out. Coordinated flank. As this one makes its way over, and this one turns its attention from Marcus towards you, Candy, and they're going to make their attacks against you.
Hurry!
The first one at disadvantage. Does a 15 hit?
Yes.
It does. Dealing
Oh crap!
13 points of slashing damage, reduced down to 6.
Okay.
They both attacking her?
Yep. Second attack misses.
Ooh.
As the other one attacks from behind.
I will Uvar the first one to give it disadvantage. First attack.
Okay.
Bless.
Unfortunately, it still hits.
No,
Dealing-
no bless.
8 points of slashing damage, reduced down to 4.
Okay.
Hell booty.
And the fourth attack also hits, is 13 points slashing damage, reduced down to 6. As they just kind of turn their attention towards you, Candy, and just let out a flurry of slashes, just attacking you from both an onward onslaught and from behind, just slashing into you.
Looks between the both of them, wild look in her eyes, grin still stuck on her face.
Is that all you got?
They don't say anything. I know.
Alrighty. I'm gonna go big boy.
Oh,
Man.
Me, big boy.
And as you also, I do add that the one in front of you, Marcus, you see the shadows kind of reform back. Actually, all of you kind of see the shadows kind of stitch itself together where there was once missing.
Then I'm going to go ahead and attack this individual. Am I still flanking? Or do I need to be there to flank?
You need to be the flank. I mean, it doesn't matter. You're still occupying that specific space, so yeah. You're flanking.
Alright, I'm gonna whack him with my hammer.
Okay.
Never mind.
Jesus.
It's okay, guys. I take 2 turns to get ready.
As you enlarge in form as you try to bring your warhammer down, and just unable to find purchases, it just brings its longsword and just parries it out of the way. Kenny.
How's this one next to me looking?
Which one?
The one we're fighting. Okay, we don't see the other guy again, by the way, Nano. You didn't move.
Oh,
You mean Storm?
Or Storm, yeah, sorry. Yeah, Storm, the other guy didn't move.
I don't know what's happening.
That's why, yeah.
It's the solar flare.
Now, I got a lightning storm
What's
coming out of my... I just saw lightning striking outside my window.
This happened in my one shot before as well, and I hate it.
I love how upon living in North Carolina, there have been several instances in which the thunderstorms have taken me out of games.
It's looking okay. Like it's not looking bloody at all. It looks like it's only taken like a single hit.
Which it has. Well, then half of a spell.
This one's looking a little worse.
The one behind?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, she'll reckless this one.
The guy up top.
Yeah, the more injured one. Spinning, gripping her axe as she does like a full-on axe spin.
Hits. Dealing 16 points of slashing.
Nice.
Looking pretty bloodied.
And when you teleport, does that still give attack of opportunity?
Nope.
Okay. In that case, she will, let's see, so 20 feet, then 30 feet. So she will 5, 10, 15, 20, bloop, over to here with like a loud crack sound appears suddenly behind Einar, and then we'll run the 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 distance over here. And that's my turn.
Where are you going? Why are you running?
I'm gonna pop in and out.
Why are you running?
So Marcus
Marcus.
will stand up for half his movement. That will take the action to disengage.
Okay.
Why are you running?
Because I'm
I know why you're running. It's fine.
I'm not a frontliner. Oh shit, that actually brings up a point. Am I still paralyzed?
No.
Okay. 20, and then I will key point to Step of the Wind. And I will.
I'm in danger.
You're also unhurt.
Do not be afraid. I'll be fine. I got
Get behind me, little ones. I would protect you.
Oh, you got
I'm
this,
the one
Anna.
protecting all of y'all.
You got this.
Evelyn.
Yeah, me thinks, yeah. I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna go ahead and while running on past, one second, put it on there. Wonderful. Okay, so, yeah, that's looking like what I might need to do. I'm gonna have myself position over here. That was somewhere here, I believe. And with there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and Dissonant Whispers that one.
Which one?
The one at the farthest from me.
Okay.
And going to do that at level 1. Ooh. Very good damage.
20s.
Of course.
Taking
Even littler damage.
3
Yeah.
psychic damage because the
3 points of
resistance.
psychic damage.
Sob.
As it just seems to just stand there.
Well, I get to do the other thing I was gonna do. Let me move my extra my movement over here and look over towards fucking Marcus, and it's just, you're up, but you're not out yet. Come on, let's go. And you get an inspiration, and you get an inspiration.
We all have an inspiration now.
Yeah. But let's see.
Wait, who has inspiration?
Everybody except you, but you burnt through yours. But yeah,
Yeah.
I got one.
Okay. Is that the end of your turn?
I do believe it is. Yeah.
On their turn, they're going to look over towards you, Einar. The one wielding the light leaving is your folly. And he
What?
is going to circle around you and make their attacks against you.
Give one of them disadvantage. Second attack.
Okay. Second attack? Okay. First attack
Yeah.
misses. Second attack still hits
Of course.
for 17 points of slashing damage.
Okay.
The other attack, what's your AC? 19.
19.
Also hits for 10 points of slashing damage. And the last attack misses. As you kind of see, where there was once this, the shadows continue to stitch forth this one, towards the west, and it seems completely fine now. Whereas the lingering light on the other from the sunbursts of Marcus's blasts of light just kind of slowly flake off, and it also seems to slowly stitch its shadow back together.
Ah, so they're regenerating.
Mm-hmm.
Except I'm assuming when my radiant bolt hit them, maybe?
Yep.
It's a good assumption.
I know.
Which one looks more?
The one to your right.
Alright. You wish to see how a northerner brawls? So be it. I'm gonna bonus action hit him with the shield to knock him prone.
Get
Okay.
advantage on that.
Yes. So athletic.
Counter athletics. Is it counter athletics or is it against the AC?
Athletics versus acrobatics. It's basically the shove action.
Okay. It failed. So it is now prone.
Now he's on his booty.
That's
So I'm gonna.
that's so bad because I can't hit him now.
It's fine. I'm gonna hit him with my hammer
Oh, okay.
for an advantage attack.
Can't hit him now. That sounds like quitter talk, Mr. Natural 20. Use the fucking inspiration.
Yeah, I'm gonna use that now.
Okay.
Oh no!
Just misses.
Ah, okay. Well, Einar's no good very
As
bad
you kind of
day.
bring it down, and it just rolls out of the way just in time as you bring your warhammer slamming down into the
Fair.
grass spot where it was.
That's fine. I'll just action surge and try to smack him with.
Okay.
Life isn't fair.
There you go.
Hits. For 8 points of damage.
For basically minimum. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna use Ild now.
Ill to what? Oh yeah, the restraints.
Okay.
Oh.
It is a strength save.
Yeah. It's just a DC 13.
Yeah, it saves, unfortunately.
These
As it
motherfuckers
just kind of breaks free of the fiery chains that try to wrap around it.
Next time, why don't you not run so far away, Pete?
Candy.
Alright.
She'll rush forward to this one knocked prone here. There's no need to reckless with it being prone, right? So,
Yeah.
so swing down, lift her axe high above her head, and swing it just straight down.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh my god, what is with
These
us?
rolls, guys. As you bring your great axe slamming down, it just sees you and also brings its longsword up just in time to just block the blow.
5, 10, 20. She will teleport 5, 10, 20, right over here. And that's her turn.
Oh, God.
Marcus.
Marcus is gonna look over at Evelyn and go, you might have to bring me back up again.
She seems rather intent and focused, but she nods.
As Marcus will use 35 movement to get into melee so I can hit this fucker who's on the ground and injured. I will use my advantage strikes the first to hit him with my spear, with my quarterstaff.
Don't you dare! That thing is cursed! No! The cursed quarterstaff.
It is,
See?
it really is.
It's so fucking cursed! I mean, you could use the inspiration, but like...
Yeah, you know what? That's max damage. I'll use the inspiration.
Watch this one.
There we go. Evelyn, I believe! Just like freaking jump up in the air and whack him right in the
As
crotch.
you whack the quarterstaff, just as the figure of Candy just teleports away, you quickly rush up and in its place, as it's just currently blocking where an axe no longer is, you bring its quarterstaff just kind of smashing down into its side.
I take it that hurt him decently?
Yeah,
Okay,
he's looking pretty bad.
Then I will bicycle kick him with a radiant kick to the face.
Wonderful.
Okay, 7 points of radiant damage.
How's he looking?
He's looking pretty bad.
Like death's door bad? Or like...
He's getting pretty close.
You know what? I can't fucking risk it. I'm gonna use a key point to take patient defense.
Okay.
Oh no, I can't. Fuck. Because I used my bonus action. Yeah, I'll flurry of blows and try to finish him off.
Okay.
Another 7.
Hits for 7 points of radiant damage. Now he's on death's door. As you blast him with radiant damage, and you see the shadow kind of like barely holding him together as you just kind of like his form is just kind of tearing away a little bit.
Evelyn, be afraid. Finish him off.
Evelyn.
Okay. Oh man. This motherfucker. This fucker that is I hate it here. Why y'all gotta do this to me? But everything hurts. Everything hurts.
Yes.
So, I think I'm going to go with sobs because the only thing that I could fucking do psychic damage isn't fucking God. But I can continue to throw vicious mockeries at these motherfuckers, which is what I'm going to do. This one is capacitated, but this one has the most capacity for whatever the fuck it can do. So, I'm gonna go with the vicious mockery on this one first of all. Look over at the thing and just like, you know, when you're lying down, I really can't tell if you're a magical shadow or just a normal one.
Okay.
Another single point of damage.
Fails.
Laugh. Did die. Please tell me it had 1 hit point left.
No.
That face. And then afterwards, Candy, how are you looking on health points? I know Marcus is fucking playing around with fake death right now, but...
I took 16 points off, so I'm not bloodied yet.
Okay. How about you, Mr. Einar?
I'm blooded.
Oh yeah, I bet you fucking are. Yeah, I know. Just I'm looking for sustain. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a use 2 dissonant healings from before, and then well, no, wait. Me using math simulator. Dissonant whisper. Okay, yeah, I'm at 1 more, I believe. with that... Oh no, actually no. Okay, yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and go with a healing word at 2nd level for Mr. Big Boy. Well.
Is that on Einar?
Preach.
Of course. And then afterwards, I'm going to take my movement and go about right here because I'm sure that. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, I'd say I'm pretty decent in that regard. Okay, cool. That's gonna be my turn.
Okay. On their turn,
Yeah.
this one's going to say, "It's time to eliminate a threat." And it is going to rush around and make its 2 attacks against Marcus.
Yeah, I saw that coming.
Oof.
First attack misses.
Oh!
Second attack also misses.
Oh!
It tries to bring its longsword slashing down in towards you, and you just, as you just like bet, like you've just got 1 hit left in you, and you're trying to desperately dodge away out of these longsword attacks, and you're just weaving to and fro as the other one gets up and attacks you from behind.
I'm gonna give him disadvantage on an attack.
The second attack. He already has 1-on-1.
He's getting up. Oh yes, the second attack.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Well,
he
no,
has
because
disadvantage
this
on
is
both
mockery for the
attacks.
first one.
Yeah,
This is
exactly.
mockery
He'll have
for the
disadvantage
first.
on both attacks then. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the first attack is automatically disadvantaged, and if he uses disadvantage with the Eldritch Rune, that's both at disadvantage attacks.
Okay. Just
But an 18 does hit,
Oof.
which means it's 15 points of slashing damage, and Marcus is knocked unconscious.
Well, I tried.
he tried.
As he brings his longsword slashing down towards Marcus. That is a natural 20.
With disadvantage? Oh yeah, because it's flat.
Oh, wait, no. That's right, no. It's not a natural 20 then. That's right. Well, you take 2 death saves, failures, as it brings its sword just slashing down into you, and you feel this kind of, like, life force just getting sucked away from you. It doesn't actually leave a scar, but it's just kind of like this evaporating feeling that you feel. Okay. I know.
Yeah, I'm gonna shield bash this guy to knock him.
Okay. I don't think I can even beat that. Unless I rolled a nat 20. Nope. He's...
Okay. Then I will smack him with my war.
Okay.
Hopefully. Woo!
Hits. As you bring your warhammer down, smashing into it, you just see it just strike into the shadow, and it just bursts into this writhing shadow that just kind of disappears for a moment and reforms and appears over here, where Dimir is currently sitting next to it, and like on a tree branch. She's just kind of watching the battle go on, as you kind of hear a clap. Well done, well done. That's one.
I'll look at the shadow and be like, threat eliminated. That's what's
There is still one more. As the other one kind of turns towards you.
That's me.
Candy.
Woo. Alright, so 5, 10. Right there for flanking.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna reckless it. And do like a hey bat about a swing with the axe.
Okay.
Beat his ass! Yes! Yeah! Yeah!
Alrighty. Takes. Oh boy. That is a lot of damage. Oh, wait, really have those. 19 points of damage.
That is a
Whoa.
scary axe I made.
Yeah.
If I can get a
Yeah.
crit, it's gonna be even worse.
No, no.
Right into like the back, cutting away some of the shadow.
If I can get a crit, I can put on both Savage Attack and Orcish Fury.
Marcus.
Actually, you can do that right now if you want to, Nikki.
I
Add
want
that
to.
D12.
We might have other battles after this, so I'm gonna save it.
Everything's recovered after this, Nikki.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, then yeah, I'll use Orcish Fury to roll another damage die.
Okay.
Beat this!
Uh.
Beat his motherfucker!
6.
6.
Oh,
Marcus.
is slashing halved?
No,
No.
Nikki.
No,
You,
it's
you,
just
you don't
the
get an
best
extra
side.
attack. You just add an extra D12.
Oh, roll one of the weapons damage dice and additional time.
So it's just not a D12, yeah.
Okay, got it.
Hey, here I go. Here's my death. Yep, Marcus is out.
As
No!
Marcus just poofs into this black poof of shadow, and you appear about like just on the tree line here, and you kind of watch over this battle, and you're conscious, but you're up with 1 hit point. Okay, Evelyn.
Hi. Well, that shit just happened. How's this thing looking? If I can-
It's looking okay.
Oh shit, I forgot to move.
Hey. Well,
I'll let you move.
given the
Oh,
fact
yay, thank
that
you.
Candy is about to get her ass handed to her.
Well, I can
Uh,
move now. I can move, so I'll be good.
Oh yes, you're right. Well,
Also,
wait,
Candy is by
how?
far the least vulnerable person out there.
This is also very true, and I'm glad that you said that. You know what? In Confucian. I'm thinking. Methinks is going to. Yeah, I guess it was 2 attacks. What sign is AC again?
19.
Okay. I hold confidence within you, my friend.
It's a thick AC, but
Yeah.
these guys hit like a Mack truck too. So
Yeah, you're
There's
right. Okay, yeah. This is what I think I'm gonna do. God damn it, why do they resist everything I like to do? It's fine though. Because I think I'm going to go ahead and just... Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give the Bardic Inspiration over to Einar once more. My last one. And with that afterwards, I believe I'm going to Vicious Mockery. The other one, and it's just... you don't have your friend anymore. Well, I think it's about time you go. Let's get 2 points of damage, please. Oh, no. 1 again. Pain.
Succeeds.
Fuck.
As it just kind of turns towards you and stares you down. Next target.
It always be them bitches. Anyways, I'm gonna very not so subtly run behind Candy. And that will be the end of my turn.
Okay. This one's unconscious. On its turn, it's going to point towards you, Candy, and I need you to make a whiz save.
an
Uh-oh.
advantage.
Oh, I get advantage?
Uvar.
Oh, thank
Damn it, you could use it on my death saving throw, you know?
I don't know if that can be used on death saves.
All saving throws, I believe. It's still a saving throw, so it should be able to be used on saving that on death saves as well.
I got. I
'Cause
didn't think of that.
It's something you're doing, not me doing. Right? If I had to do it, then I couldn't. But
So,
You are paralyzed.
damn
as
it.
you feel this entire shadowy hole just take effect, and it is going to dash.
Hi,
Uh-oh.
bitch.
can it dash
Okay.
after casting Hold Person?
No, actually, no, it can't. You are right.
Thanks, boo.
I'll make it halfway,
Go
though.
back to hetero world where you belong.
I guess.
Next to Candy.
No, I'll say that. You do get your attack of opportunity, I know.
Yes.
Bite his eyes. Oh wait, didn't he just help with the saving throw before though?
Oh, yes,
oh
he
yeah,
did.
you used your reaction. Yeah,
He did. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
that's a shame.
I love just indirectly killing myself.
That's okay. We
I know.
also prevented him from dashing right next to you as well. So
You also see
That
the
was-
shadow kind of regen.
But I finally had a good hit.
Sorry. The balance of the universe.
but you had a good hit before. It just took an advantage strike.
You will rue the day.
I think I already am.
Sorry.
Oh man.
Guess it's my turn now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna move here. And I now have a choice. And that choice is going to be me using second wing.
Okay.
So,
11.
hit points. And then I'm gonna attack him.
Okay. Hits. 13 points of damage.
Alrighty.
Candy.
That me.
Oh, he's got to make a con save. Holding
Oh,
Hold
yeah, he
Person.
does.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, please fail.
It's a DC 10, so
Please.
Nat 20.
Damn
Double
it.
nat 20.
I'm still paralyzed.
yeah.
Yep.
You can make your
I
save
need
right
to,
now, though, at the end of your turn.
Yep.
She's not wise.
Oof.
No,
you know,
question. With the
Hmm.
rage, does she still get the teleport thing?
no, your
I know.
plus your rage drops now, Nikki.
Yeah.
Yeah, on this turn, yeah, which is
Yeah.
why before it drops, am I able to or no?
Nope. You need
Damn
to be kind of like able to be in control of yourself to be able to do that.
Drat. Okay.
I mean, again, you can just do it again and then move from there.
I'll
but
get a new rage thing.
Yeah,
Yep.
they're paralyzed is the problem.
Evelyn.
Ha! Okay, so I believe things are looking scary, my friends.
I'm gonna take quite some damage, possibly, if you could help with that.
You know what? With the spells left, it probably won't make a difference, Nikki.
I think I'm going to do something that could potentially be helpful. Oh yeah, that's scary. Wow, you're in a pickle. Whew. Okay, so Sorry, I'm like having a moment. I'm realizing just like the weight of your situation.
I'm not gonna take half damage anymore.
I mean,
Double
I mean,
damage because
nothing-
you're paralyzed.
nothing seems to have changed with this one. No, it's still seemingly rather what's the word? It still seemingly is experiencing a few issues. It's not doing too great.
Yeah, it's healing every round, don't forget.
That is
Mhm.
also true. Understood.
Because they took out
Okay.
me, which is the only thing that could have prevented that.
Got it.
Because I was really hoping I could have killed that cocksucker on the ground.
Well. Okay. Well, yeah, no. I think what I'm going to go with then is I'm going to use. Actually. Oh yeah, you're like fucked if something like really really bad happens. Oh man.
I mean, at this point, Judah, it's you can unless you can try Dissonant whispering it to make it flee. I think that's your only way to save Candy.
Yeah, it is, ain't it? Yeah, I was like really thinking hard about that. I was just like, oh shit. Yeah,
No
you're
healing
right.
will help. Like the 8 points of healing will be torn through instantly.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a level 1 dissonance.
I thought that's all you had
Okay.
left.
No, I have 2 more of 1 and of a 2. A 1, a 2, a 3.
Saves. Taking
I love it here.
3 points of psychic damage.
Still got to make that con save though.
True.
3 points of sight.
Saves.
No.
Bye, Andy.
Understood.
I hope you enjoy the sidelines with Marcus.
Did I?
This is not where I belong.
Well, you better get nice and fucking comfy. I can't really back much else, really, technically speaking. 10.
You can flee to the right or the left.
That is also true. You are very right.
Don't run out of bounds, you might get disqualified from the test.
You are very right.
You do see in front of you there's kind of like a shadowy barrier that's kind of like stopping you from moving further.
Got it. Okay.
It kind of stops where Marcus is as well.
Honestly, the other thing too is at this point you're probably better off tossing them daggers out.
Yeah, except I already used an action. So, for the meantime, I'm simply going to have to sit pretty.
Is that your turn?
Yes, sir.
Okay. He's going to move towards Kenny.
Bye, everyone.
Here's your attack.
And
What's the damage?
Oh wait, there's an attack coming. Or
Or
did you already use your reaction? No, you didn't use your reaction to give.
I haven't
Candy.
used my reaction yet.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I could give him disadvantage on one attack, but I'm just gonna take.
They're
the
all
attack
at
off the
advantage
turn.
anyways because she's paralyzed.
Yeah,
so-
I'm just gonna take the attack.
Yeah, try to break his concentration, please. No.
Well, I'll use the bardic inspiration.
Ooh.
Oh!
Ooh.
hits.
Oh wait, didn't you
Dealing
already use your
10
bardic
points of
inspiration up?
I got a new one.
Oh, I
You
didn't.
got a
I
new
got
one. 10 points of damage, and it will make it save.
Please fail.
Nope.
God damn it.
And it's going to make its longsword attacks against you. First attack, dealing... Oh wow, 30 points of slashing damage, which knocks you unconscious.
I'm unconscious. Oh wait, actually, what did I get temporary hit points from? Was that from Damien?
You don't get temporary hit points back, Nikki, but you do come back up with 1 HP.
Oh, well, before that though, I have temporary hit points, right?
That's from...
That was from the day before.
Oh, because I was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, I come back up with 1 HP.
Okay. Second attack.
Unfortunately, you don't get the counter attack with your feature because you're paralyzed.
Yep.
Also hits, dealing... Well...
You're
breaking
unconscious. Unless
I'm
it brought
unconscious.
a lower maximum.
Hold on. It did roll a natural 20, which is...
It doesn't matter because they're already automatically critting.
True.
Natural 20s
Well, if
mean
it
nothing.
does,
Oh, true. It does. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. It is. Yeah, no, it's not enough. You're unconscious.
Bring me up, guys.
That is. It moves well, as you're down, after it, I believe it was here.
That's a move 5. You get 25 for movement.
Okay. I know.
I'm a pursue, and then
Oh,
I'm a
as the
shield bash.
Okay. Um. Fails. It is now
Nice.
prone.
Get that advantage strike.
Furthermore, it's going to be harder for him to catch up to the bar.
It's dealing 9 points of damage.
The thing I think that's killing me the most, I think he's probably healing past that every time.
If you guys can bring me up, I can deal a lot of damage.
You gotta
Okay.
pass a death save.
How the fuck?
Candy.
Well, no, Candy's
That's
okay.
it.
Candy can't die. If
Candy
Candy didn't have Orcish Resilience, he'd be done, but...
Wait,
there
doesn't
is-
Oh,
Candy
right.
have that ability?
Oh! Oh!
It's only 2 failures, you're still up.
You're doing amazing, sweetie.
Oh, she just, like, starts, like, seeing convulsing on the ground.
Evelyn.
Everyone help me.
Uh-huh.
She does not like this.
Oh. Wow. Oh, this is terrible. I love it. I love it. I love how fucking terrible it is. Let's see. What can I do? Yeah, I'm gonna... Fuck. You guys are the only people that are actually doing things right now, and I am... Well...
That's good.
Looks over towards Candy, and just... Your only hope! Come on! And... Ooh,
Oh, nice.
that's 10 points.
What
of
am
healing.
I, chopped liver?
You will be if you won't take him down! Start running away.
He's on his ass right now, that's down.
He just points towards the liquefying, bubbling mass of shadows slowly repairing the gash he just made. And as she runs away, though, she's going to take out his dagger, or take out her dagger, and just with a backwards movement, she's just going to fling it at the motherfucker.
Disadvantage because
Actually,
he's prone.
honestly, should I even be working on keeping myself up at this point?
You might just want to flee further with your action. I mean, actually, I guess you're right. You know what? You have no healing left. You're effectively useless in this fight now, Judah.
Yeah,
Sorry. You might as well
so-
run up and stab him and get that advantage strike.
Okay.
She's going to flip the rapier and just kind of almost like flick at the edge of it, and it's just. Oh, I guess I'm using you this time around, huh? And yeah, she's just gonna go ahead and jab it into the motherfucker.
Okay, advantage.
Yes, sir.
I would laugh so hard if you get the. Oh
Wow.
God! What is with
No.
these rolls?
As you try to bring your rapier poking down into it and you just unable to find purchase as it just kind of parries it with the longsword.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And
Alrighty
in one sweeping motion as it swings around and gets up, it's going to make 2 slashing attacks towards you, Evelyn.
Understood. I'll be
First.
fine.
I'll give
Hits.
it disadvantage on the second one.
Okay. First attack
Why
hits,
not?
dealing 19 points of slashing damage.
Hell yeah.
Second point, as you see it just misses, as it just tries to slash into you, and you just manage to dodge out of the way just in time.
Understood.
Okay.
I'd like to say that if I didn't sacrifice myself to take down the second one, we'd all be screwed.
And it moves over here.
I'm just afraid.
I know. As you see, the shadows just kind of slowly stitch it back together again.
Well, shield back.
Okay.
Oh crap! Candy can't reach.
Oh, right, I don't teleport anymore.
Yeah, and you're 15. And you only get 15 feet of movement.
Maybe I'll get lucky.
Fails. It is now prone again.
Thank fuck.
I'm gonna move here. And then yeah, just gonna attack.
Okay.
Oh!
There
Nice.
it is.
Dealing. Okay. That is 12, 18, 19, 20. 20 points of damage as you bring your Warhammer slamming down into it, just finally being able to land a really good, solid hit as you crack it into the armor, and you just kind of see it shatter in places. You hear the sound just as it kind of slowly starts to try and pull itself, this armor back together. Okay.
It's my turn.
Candy.
There's my turn. I mean, if you rage, you might potentially get another 2, which would be hilarious.
Yeah. Well, first let me see. Is he within range of
No.
anything? Yeah. Okay. He is.
Just throw your axe.
No. First, I'm gonna rage and see what I get. So,
Okay.
D8, a 5. That's it's this one again. I get the 10 feet difficult terrain around me. Not the one I wanted, but that's fine.
If you get close, that actually might mean that I can start running away again.
To what effect, Judah?
Yeah.
You might as well
I
keep getting
will-
those stabbies in there and try
I'll
to
have
do.
you know, I have a few tricks up my goddamn sleeve.
Yeah, she'll drop her licorice and yeet, hand axe.
He's prone, so it's disadvantaged.
Mm,
Well, you can get up and move.
yeah, she'll make it reckless.
You can't reckless
Okay.
unless it's melee.
Oh, right. Never mind then. Alright, yeah, so just disadvantage yeet.
From where you are?
Those work.
It makes no difference regardless.
Yeah.
True.
So,
Oh. Can't she, like, get up, move 15 feet, and still throw?
Yeah, but it's still disadvantaged because he's prone.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, because he's prone. I'm dumb. Sorry.
Alright, yeet. Oh!
Hits! Dealing 11 points of damage.
Okay. It'll take half his movement to get up, so I will stay where I am.
Okay. Evelyn.
Stab him, Evelyn. It's the death blow.
Oh, god fucking damn it. Yeah, no.
He's
she
looking
just
pretty bad.
looks back down and... Nah. That's for something later. So... Yeah, I'm just fuck stab.
Believe in the heart of the dice.
4 piercing damage. What was that sound?
He's on 1 HP.
And now he regenerates
Now, if
hit
I recall
points.
correctly, I have an offhand as a dagger.
Rapier's not a light weapon. You can't do that.
I don't believe it matters about the main. I believe it only matters about the
No,
secondary.
it's about both. Apparently, that's I had to check with that, but it's DM ruling us. But
Pretty sure it's both.
Yeah.
Hold on. He needs light property.
Yeah,
both-
both need to be light.
Yep.
Understood. Yeah. Okay. Well, if that's the case, then... Scheiße. Okay.
You should have just stabbed his eyes out with your daggers.
You're probably right. Then, Okay, well, I can't really do all too much.
I mean, honestly, you just wait for the attacks to start, because you could flee and take a disadvantaged attack at advantage, or a disadvantaged talk of opportunity, but
I will attempt such.
Okay.
See how that goes.
Hits.
Yep.
For 22 points of slashing damage.
and you're unconscious.
There we go! So, back here.
And I guess Evelyn is about to die.
As you try to get out of the way and just sweeps towards slashing at your legs and knocks you down and you're now unconscious. This is now its turn. As its shadows kind of repair itself and it stands up towering over Evelyn as it brings its 2 attacks onto her. First attack. What's your AC? Actually, that's advantage. That hits. Both hit. You are now, as both attacks connect, slashing into you, you immediately bamf out of place as the shadow kind of like pops out and you appear sitting next to Marcus.
Just for the sake, Marcus will turn to Evelyn and goes, you know what? I think there's a reason me and you shouldn't be in frontliners.
Candy, did you stand up?
Yep.
Okay.
Wanna give me a... She looks oddly despondent. Before she kind of almost absentmindedly nods a bit ways too late for what you had just said.
I know. Oh, and it's also going to move here.
Cheeky little bastard. That's okay.
I'm just gonna knock him prone with a shield bash anyways.
I will dance around to come over here,
Okay.
and then yes, I'm gonna shoot.
Alrighty.
We're lucky this will finish him off. Ooh, these rolls tonight for the most part.
Yeah, you guys have been pretty natural one. He is not.
All right.
His roll's been pretty bad.
Oh, that should kill him. Come on.
How do you want to do this?
Woo!
Didn't have.
He will slowly circle around the being of shadow. His eyes staring at it like he stared at the bear Torbjorn long ago. Eventually, he will slap it with his shield, knocking it prone, and then in an almost uncharacteristically quick movement, he will swing his hammer down and crush its head, like he's fucking Shao Kahn or someone.
Okay. As you just bring your shield and shield bash it, knocking it down back as it stumbles back and falls onto the grassy floor. You bring your hammer and just with a quick snap, and then there's just this slight crack that just kind of echoes out as you slam it into its head, and you just see the helmet kind of cave in for a moment as it disappears into shadow, and the entire body just disappears into shadow and reforms. Kneeling by the tree up here as the shadows kind of drop all around, and you all have successfully passed the test as Jimera hops down from the tree. Wonderful, wonderful. That was truly amazing. The odds were rather stacked against you for that one.
Good work, team.
Do you have a prize?
Indeed you do.
I hope it's cupcakes.
But if you'd all like to gather around for a moment, the wounds might hurt quite a bit for the meantime, and I think it's probably best we take care of those first.
It sounds like a plan. Ooh.
And she kind of holds her arms out as you feel this kind of like shadow engulf all of you, and you feel the exhaustion, the limberness, all the sores and pains and bruises that you felt throughout this fight just kind of release as you have now benefited from a long rest.
That was a lot of fun.
That was definitely a good get-go. Most of us, they got pretty dicey there near the end.
I hope you know that this is also a learning experience, that your lives, although you are predicted to do something of great importance, that may not necessarily hold true, and you need to pick your battles carefully.
Well, I think we learned that I got to be a little more careful. I shouldn't have ran in front like that. That was a bad move.
It's alright, they're wardens of the shadow, and they're particularly trained and able to the movements of their foes and pick out particular targets. As for your rewards, she kind of materializes this kind of grey cloak in her hands. On top of it is a statuette as well, and she just kind of holds out towards you all. These are your rewards.
Statues?
Well, one is, yes, and the other is a kind of cloak you can wear.
What do they do?
She will explain them. I will show. This is a shadow shawl. It will allow you to kind of hide your facial features in complete darkness, where you two put on the hood. And if you are particularly sensitive to light, then it should also benefit you quite a bit as well, but that doesn't really come too much into effect these days.
Huh. I can't really see myself needing such an item.
Yeah, me neither.
And it sounds like, Evelyn, this one is yours. What happened?
I can't help but say it. I don't know, that's not very nice to say Evelyn has to cover up her face.
That's what you took from Marcus. Perhaps you should think harder.
So basically, for a most, if not all, of that conversation, Evelyn had seemingly not been paying all that much attention. But as soon as you address her, she almost seemingly reanimates, and it's just, well, thank you, all of you. Are you sure that you want me to have it?
Yeah, honestly, Miss Evelyn, you're probably best with it.
Look
I
at what I
don't-
wear. You think I'm gonna be sneaking around anytime soon?
I don't have much use for either.
No, I have no reason to.
She just kind of bumps with what seems to be a small laugh internally. But I'm kind of at that, though.
The
Yeah.
others
Or
are gone.
Nah,
The other statuette appears to be a hooded woman bearing a scythe in one hand and a sickle in another, carved in stone. And I will display that as well.
Is it just me, or has there been a motif to these things?
Well, I believe that perhaps the shawl could be useful for if you ever plan on adventuring to a city that might not particularly be fond of those wielding powerful magics, or those who appear to be of Orabani. And this statuette will allow you to contact me if you need so.
I think that one's easily enough to put in the bag of holding while we're at it. Marcus will take the statue and put it in the...
Lean over to Candy a moment. You know, Candy, that statue. That's your trophy.
Looks at you curiously.
Don't you mean our trophy?
I suppose that's true. I didn't do much other than knock them on their ass.
That was still helpful. We all played a really important part in that battle.
True.
She looks kind of curiously at you, though, with an arched brow.
Why do you say that, though?
Well, I just figured you might enjoy the thought of having a trophy.
She's gonna insight that.
Okay.
Oof. No, she's not. Just kind of stares, still arching a brow for a bit before kind of just behind her hand, just like,
You're really funny.
Good, I was voted the funniest in my village.
I can totally believe it.
He just has like a
Going
shading
to
grin.
insight that.
which are you inciting?
Funniest in the village. Oh, I could totally believe that.
Go ahead.
Bitch. Fucking man.
Happy smiles. She's genuine.
I hate you. I
You know what?
dislike how you said that
given-
so much.
Yeah. Given how Einar has described his home, Marcus is just like, yeah, I could see that.
This is a very interesting situation we've found. Fucking hell.
Well, Demira, what do you garner from this test? How do you think we'll fare out in the wide world? Any
I think
thoughts
you'll-
or suggestions based on our teamwork?
I think you'll do just fine. I suggest that when you make your way over to Justice Landing, that perhaps you contact me again. From there, I'm sure you would have garnered enough experience to perhaps take upon your trials upon to unlock your powers. They each will be different for each one of you. And it'll be rather interesting.
Trials? Like, exactly how?
It's
When will we know when we come across them? Or are they designated?
it's tough to say how they will appear, but when you reach the city, it will be a place of one with a strong connection with a virtue that exists. You've chosen quite well in the fact that it will be much easier for you there.
gonna insight that when she says that.
Okay.
Inciting a demigod.
Hell yeah, I am, and I will tap you the reason why.
You're unable to tell.
Oh, fuck! Oh, she simply smiles. Well, alright. Well, I suppose we should all get going then, right?
Indeed.
Suppose so. Let's get back
Yep,
to the
yep.
horses. I'm sure Damien's just bored stiff waiting for us to get back.
Good luck in your travels.
Bye bye. Stay safe.
Thank you for everything you've done.
That's right. I wish you all the best and safety in your travels this way.
Appreciate it.
She kind of turns and she ushers her knights to step forward. Come, let us leave. As the shadows kind of appear before underneath them, and they descend into the ground as she also disappears into this reef of shadow and into this kind of like wrapped around the statue before it dissipates.
As we head back to the wagon, Marcus is just going to look at his staff and go, I really gotta see about replacing this thing sometime. It seems to be glitched out.
What is a glitch?
Well, a glitch is a bit like a hornswoggle thing that doesn't quite work proper.
So defunct.
Yeah, a bit like that.
Doesn't look broken to me.
I know how to fix it.
Really? What you got to do?
All right, watch this.
And she'll reach into her pocket and she will take out that rock she took from the cave. And she will rub it between both of her hands and like squint her eyes at it and be like,
Good energy. Good lucky energy. Good lucky energy.
and then she will rub the rock on his fighting staff. And then after a few moments of doing that, she'll put the rock away and clap her hands together.
There. Now it's lucky.
Oh, well, let's see. He's just going to take a swing. It feels a lot better!
See? She'll hold up the rock and with a victory pose.
It's my lucky rock. Lucky magic rock.
That would have even hit Einar in the back of the head.
And she'll put the rock away, looking very pleased with herself.
SMH.
So, where are we headed to next? Or wait, hopping back in the cart, right?
Yeah, we're headed down to that city we all agreed upon.
Okie dokie. Let's hop back on there then.
And actually, while we're walking as well, back in that direction, Candy's gonna kind of slow down to walk by Evelyn, holding out an arm momentarily to have her slow down as well, and so we're just at a listening range.
That's pretty far for Marcus.
Yeah, that she best knows of, really. Just and lowers her arms to like kind of do like this little like hopping walk next to her, and like glances over in her direction.
Is everything all right?
No, everything's fine.
Well, I mean, you sort of zoned out of it like twice.
I'm pretty sure that anybody zones out when they fake died.
Marcus seemed okay.
You there, Judah?
You didn't hear my response.
No.
She replied with, Marcus is always okay.
Well, that's fair. You sure you're all right, though? I mean, if you don't want to talk about it, that's totally understandable. We are still sort of becoming besties. That's a work in progress. But if there is anything on your mind or anything bothering you, you can always talk, and I can lend an ear. I'm really good at keeping secrets.
Well, I'll let you know. For the meantime, nothing currently, I'd say.
She will insight that. Nope.
You're doing amazing.
Yep, she's not good at inciting, so she's just gonna stick to her gut feeling and be like, give a little nod.
Well, all right. I'm just saying that offer's on the table. All right, let's catch up with the others.
All right.
She'll mock jog.
I'll say while you two had your talk and Mark is just kind of rubbing his chin with the honor. I gotta say though, that fake death thing, it's a little more intense than what my master used to do to me.
He seems to have pulled a hunk of bread out of somewhere. And he's mid-chew. So. How so? What was
Well,
it
I
like?
Kind of like, I don't know, it was like really cold for a second and then popped right back into consciousness.
That's quite unusual.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, a bit odd, a different experience, definitely.
I don't imagine you would recommend trying it.
No, probably not. It was a bit jarring.
I could see how that would be.
To tell you one thing, definitely makes me not want to try the real thing anytime soon.
Quite fair. Which brings up a good question. If one of us were to really die, Demia's been our... what's the word I'm looking for? Host?
Bestest friend.
Very different answers. Oh my fucking god.
I guess I don't really know the extent of the demigod's power, but... if one of us died, I'm not sure if even she could bring us back.
Yeah, with us being, well, what, the virtues and sins sort of thing. I mean, for us, is it even possible, like some of the... I know there's magic that can do that sort of thing that's rare, but is that even possible for something like us?
I don't rightly know. Let's
Huh.
hope we never have to find out.
Yeah, probably best to take things a little more careful, like. Marcus kind of looks down at the little jingle, looks in his little pack. Probably these healing potions probably would have came in handy. I suppose we were in like a real life or death situation, though. I mean, right?
You know, back in my village, there was a man by the name of Hroti. We used to call him Crazy Hroti. He had this belt that set across his chest. It went from his right shoulder down to his left side. And on that belt, he carried about six horns of meat. We thought it was the craziest thing, but he could drink those up quicker than anybody else could drink 6 horns of meat. He attributed to that belt. I wonder perhaps if something like that might help with these potions.
Really? I mean, I don't know if putting them in horns is going to help any.
No, not the horn.
Oh.
The belt. We have a belt that holds them.
Yeah, so,
Perhaps it was drinking faster.
I suppose so.
Perhaps Hroti wasn't so crazy after all.
Maybe not. Just matching like an
when
inventory
girls
belt
get
1 to 9.
What are the both of you talking about?
Oh, we're talking about Crazy Hroti back in my home village.
Crazy what?
It's this guy who
Cruelty.
apparently drank from horns.
We all drank from horns.
Isn't that normal?
Is it? I suppose so. I mean, my village, we just use cups.
A cup is the same thing as a horn, just without a spiky bottom.
Yeah, that wasn't too uncommon in my tribe.
Huh, no kidding. So, like, was the point of, like, the spiky bottom so you could, like, stab it into your arm as opposed to placing it on the table?
Normally we had little iron settings that we could sit the horns in that would allow us to put it on the table, but it would also let us stab the horn into the ground where it was cold and keep our mead chilled.
With my tribe, we're expected to swing it all in one go.
I suppose.
She kind of thinks to herself before kind of shaking her head. Oh, nothing. I kind of passed a little bit on my mind.
Perhaps if we find a goat or even a dragon, if we kill it, we can take the horns and I could fashion a couple of drinking horns from it.
Wait, what? Well, I don't think we should go killing random goats. I mean, sure, if the dragon has done something really bad, then I suppose that makes sense. But goats don't do anything bad.
Surely you hunted for food before, Candy.
Yeah.
Well, back in my village, when we hunted a creature, we let no part of it go to waste. This in turn helped us hunt less. Therefore, things were in balance.
Well, makes sense to me, honestly. I suppose if you had to kill it, it would prefer you to use every bit of it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing it for food, then of course. But, I mean, killing a goat just to have horns is, I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
anything in
I'm-
particular with killing animals?
Hmm?
Do you have something against killing animals?
Well, yeah, I mean, unless absolutely necessary, I don't really think we should go killing any type of life if it's just living life and not
Yeah.
harming anyone.
Yeah, let's be honest. It's not like we need to go hunting. We got cupcakes. Marcus holds up the bag of holding full of, like, still 80 cupcakes.
Exactly.
Cupcakes, as good as they are, they're not balanced sustenance.
Precisely.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong, of course, with, having to do that to animals for food and whatnot, but, for other means and whatnot, I think we should sort of let them live their life, you know?
I wasn't saying we go kill a goat for its horns only.
Oh, I get it. So it's like as if we come across a goat for food and we need to eat the thing, we'll use his horn as well.
Exactly. Precise.
Oh, got it. Well, yeah.
If I may, how long have you been living with this tribe of yours?
Counts off on her
Or-
fingers.
More
how long-
appropriately, how long was it since you've left?
Counts off on her fingers.
How long have we been traveling?
She just nods kind of understandingly.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how it was with you, but definitely inside of these particular parts, and she kind of makes a general flourish of her hands in the surrounding area. There's unfortunately a lot more usage of animals, if you understand what I'm going for.
Are you talking about using their parts for other things?
No, I mean, well, animals, at least in the more inland areas, they are oftentimes hunted very often for the means of food, but also for clothing, amongst other means.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm used to that. Actually, around here, you do it a lot less often, so yeah, I was finding it nice. I was just curious.
Okay. I was just making sure because, I mean, you definitely have put off that you do seem to be rather uncomfortable with the idea of I mean, animals dying and whatnot, and, well, I suppose I just wanted to make sure that you knew, so you weren't, I guess, caught off guard.
No, I know. Completely fine.
She like puts this bright grin on her face.
It's just,
Mar-
I was just wondering if you guys.
Go ahead.
Marcus was going to incite that as well.
Yeah, me too. We going.
So one particular inciting again.
Her claim that the death of animals does not bother her at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it bothers her.
Not
We,
take the
Evelyn
side.
and Marcus are aware of that. Einar has no idea.
But she just has this bright grin on her face. It's just like,
I mean, it happened a lot often in my tribe sometimes. I mean, I think it's a lot better for sure if you're doing it for food and, necessity and whatnot, other than sport.
I understand that, yeah.
I guess, yeah, makes sense. I mean, no reason to kill a thing that doesn't need to die, right? I mean,
Exactly.
my master always said it was unhealthy to eat that kind of thing often, anyways.
Well, I suppose it depends, but yeah, I understand.
gives them both kind of a curious look, but smile still on her face. Looks on ahead again.
The way at least I particularly see it as well. I mean, at least within this day and age, the killing of animals is oftentimes something that happens quite often, at least for the means of survival and whatnot.
Well, I mean, heck, all you gotta do is go to a farm to see that kind of stuff going on, honestly.
True.
But Miss Evelyn, I've been meaning to ask you, we've been talking about our kind of homesteads for a while. You never really mentioned much where you're from.
Oh, well...
She seemingly does kind of come into a little bit of thought before her face admittedly drooped just a tiny bit.
Well, to be entirely fair, I don't exactly have... I don't necessarily have all that to tell you all about, I suppose.
Just kind of tilts his head. Really? Well, I mean, you seem like a really interesting person.
Yeah, what do you mean?
I mean, a bit of research here and there, trying to work up my craft, and, well, I eventually learned music and how to, do things with it and whatnot. I suppose there's just not much in between the lines that I can necessarily say. I mean, I grew up alright. No particular riches, no particular poverties. Just, going through life, I suppose. Similar to what you were saying,
And she kind of gestures over towards Marcus.
just, nothing in particular to really talk about, if I'm to be completely honest with you.
Oh, yeah, you mean the Daily Dreg kind of thing.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
if that's...
I would say so.
Well, in that's the case, what inspires you to be such a great musician, then?
Well, since I was young, I guess you could say I was always, known for my talents. No particular prodigal stuff or anything, but more so, how would I put it? I guess you could say I've always been the type to practice and do anything that I can to make something more out of my consisting parts, I guess. And, well, at least when it came to music, well, I've always kind of had a way with instruments, and I just decided to kind of build up from there, I suppose.
Huh.
Sorry, I'm not particularly great at talking about myself.
I mean, that sounds fascinating, I think.
Candy kind of stares at Evelyn's face for a long period of time. Smile's still stuck there, but just kind of stares for a long moment before giving a grin and nodding her head.
For a moment, I would like to insight Candy. I want to see, even though she seems to have bought what was said, does she?
Go ahead. Not really. She seems to think that there's quite a bit Evelyn's not saying, but she's gonna go along with agreeing with what she hears.
For a quick moment, Evelyn kind of catching Kennedy's eye, kind of looks at her and kind of absent-mindedly looks off to a direction away from her before kind of nodding to herself. But yeah, that's about as much as I can really say. All too much for the meantime. Well, I mean, I can tell you at least when it came to to rocks and whatnot, geology and what is connected to it, I guess.
Kind of like with my lucky rock?
Yeah, and how I was able to, I guess, find out what it is and whatnot. Identify it. That's what I meant. See, so basically, there was a short amount of time where I was more or less inside of a sort of a, she's kind of like, she's very much thinking hard, trying to remember these aspects and whatnot before she kind of nods to herself, and it's just, well, you see, my father, he was a bit of a miner. I had said that I didn't come from neither either or, but I suppose that's kind of up to perception, don't you think? That being said, I suppose I was a little bit lower in comparison to some more folk, but with just some of the things that, some of the times that I would be able to see him, I guess I would always sit around and learn as much as I could, and frankly, I guess one could say it sort of became my first love before music, really. Just all of the different ways in which the earth is able to move and whatnot, and the various things that come out of it. You think it's not very special since we stand on it, well, all of our lives, but, well, there's more. There's always more. Beneath this, and she kind of looks down, and even though she can't tap the ground, she taps the seat of the carriage. It's just this trusty ground of ours.
So it's holding a bunch of secrets.
She kind of smirks a little bit at that. I guess you could say that. Except, and she kind of looks over towards the pumice rock, kind of either not sitting in her hand or put away, either or. She kind of gestures over towards it. It's just, but suppose. And she seemingly kind of thinks of something a little bit, and kind of with a bounce of the eyes, she's just, and I lost my train of thought. Wonderful.
Well, they suppose how it goes. By the way, it seems like we got ourselves on a good start here. I'm assuming we're in the wagon at this point, back on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, got a bit of a long trip ahead of us, I suppose, still. So I guess there's lots of time for us all to get to know each other.
That is
I know,
true.
Aries. Reading a book.
Oh, I I got a question for everyone. What are your favorite colors?
Huh. Marcus kind of... Yeah, I never really thought about it. I suppose kind of like orange and red.
Orangey red. Okay. So like fire.
Yeah, kind of. Like, you can tell from my attire, that's kind of what I lean towards.
Okay, and how about you two?
I suppose for me it's I guess gold is a rather general color. Yellow and its spectrum that includes it.
Ooh. I mean, that sort of makes sense since you like rocks and stuff. Gold is a pretty valuable rock, right?
She kind of like tilts her head a little bit and just, you mean metal?
Oh.
Squints, like pursing her lips in thought for a moment.
Right, two different things. Yeah.
A little small, like invisible chuckle, just kind of a little bounce of her chest before she kind of shakes her head just like a tiny bit. What seems to be fond before she kind of looks over in the direction of Einar, kind of expecting an answer.
He flips to the next page in his book. He's not paying any attention.
Einar! Einar!
Leans and pokes his cheek.
Einar! What's your
What
favorite color?
color? Blue.
Ooh, blue.
Well, then what's your
So-
favorite color then, Candy?
I already answered that one. It's red.
Oh, that's right.
Reds, one yellow and one blue.
Actually, this is actually kind of fun. How about we all just ask about each other's random questions that come to mind so we can get to know each other better?
Oh, kind of like, what's your favorite animal?
Yeah. Oh, is that your question?
Sure, why not? He says as he keeps pushing the horses forward.
Oh, geez, I have to think this one over. You go first, Evelyn.
Favorite?
Can we just go Minnesotan for a second?
Hmm?
You sounded Minnesotan for a second.
Did I?
To me, yeah.
We'll check it on the recording.
She kind of, she seemingly goes into a bit of a thought process for a bit before just, well, I don't believe I have a favorite. I mean, you know, your usual cats and dogs, sure, but, well, horses are nice.
Aren't they?
Looks over in the direction of the two horses.
She kind of bounces a little bit at that. But other than that, I don't know. I've always had an appreciation for the inorganic, rather. I know my way around animals, that being said, I do love them, but even then, I don't know.
Fair enough.
And what about you, Marcus? You asked the question.
Oh, well, mine's a bit, you might not actually, well, I mean, maybe you've heard of it. It's an animal I saw with my master years ago. Kind of felt like it was a kindred spirit in a way. It's little like, kind of like a mix between like a dog and a cat kind of creature. Really fast, really quick, and craziest thing, it is quick enough to take on like snakes. Called a mongoose.
I thought you were gonna say a
Mongoose.
fox.
Kind of nods her head thoughtfully at that.
It
I don't
kind of,
think I've ever seen one of those before.
Yeah, they kinda-
Aren't they like weasels?
yeah, kind of a bit like a weasel, I suppose. It's clever little buggers, though, and like dexterous as the dickens. Like I said, I saw this thing take on like a deadly poisonous snake, and before the thing could even bite him, the thing was on top of the snake and defeated it before it could hurt its like little babies.
Huh.
How did it manage to do that?
Well, when the snake was about to come in and bite, the mongoose was able to snip around back, bite its neck, and basically go severing it down, killing the snake before it could get into the attack.
My, is that something that happens very often, or was it just a sort of freak encounter?
Well, apparently mongooses go after snakes. They're kind of like mortal enemies. My master said the place he came from, a lot of people use them as pets to keep their house safe from them, right? Because, sometimes poisonous snakes would kind of just slither into the houses of these people.
Right.
They're considered to be lucky creatures, too.
I would bet so. Messing with snakes is not always the nicest thing to do. Or smartest.
In any case, I always kind of felt like it was a bit like a spirit animal for me, I guess. Smart, wily, fast, and, loyal and protects those it cares about.
Is your mortal enemy also snakes?
I never thought about it. I don't know if I've actually ever met a snake enemy.
So far, it seems as though your mortal enemy seems to be shadows, from what we've seen.
Yeah, apparently shadows do not like me.
I wonder why.
I wonder why too.
Passively looks over at his hand that if it's just sitting and he probably just the glowing hands fight off the shadows that would be casted over near his hand.
I was thinking it'd be funnier if he just starts rubbing his chin with his glowing hand. I can't think of a reason why.
God damn it.
I'm sure give some time and they'll kind of like you.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, like I said, I got nothing against them. I suppose, like, the ones we met, though, haven't been very friendly. Maybe just unfriendly things don't like me. Maybe that's my mortal enemy.
I don't know if a friendly shadow. Well, she kind of looks behind her. Does this count?
Imagine there gotta be friendless shadows. Look at this.
No,
Marcus
she's looking at her own shadow from behind her.
Marcus is going to look at your shadow, and with his shadow, he's going to reach out, so his shadow shakes your shadows, like pats your shadow on the back. See, friendly shadows.
For a split second, he almost looks confused before she smiles and nods. Oh, look at that.
Kenny's gonna reach out, have her shadow pat the both of your shadows' shoulders.
She just seems to be watching, amused. But
look at that, shadow pals.
Well, I guess
in fact,
continue.
You can do other fun and neat things with shadows, and Marcus is gonna do the classic dog shadow hand puppet.
Wow, how did you do that? Actually, wait.
She'll twist hers around to make a bunny.
There you go, exactly. See? Friendly shadows.
I guess we could say that's the conversation as we move along.
Yeah.
Everyone starts pulling out her
Anyways,
photos.
Candy, you haven't answered the question of your favorite animal yet.
Gosh, it's so hard to pick though. I like bunnies, and I like foxes, and I like wolves, and I like pigs, and I like cows and horses, and can't pick a favorite. They're all amazing.
Well, maybe then you should pick one that... But what do you think represent you the best? That's kind of how I did it.
Animal that represents me.
Not a. At least from those that you listed, maybe a fox?
Really? Why a fox?
Other than fluffy and cuddly?
Isn't there like a thing with foxes being like sneaky and conniving and mischievous?
Well, they're definitely cunning.
I definitely didn't know that part.
What? Did you know foxes are one of the only animals that can eat porcupines?
Really?
Yeah, because you know how the porcupine got all the quills around it, right?
Yeah, yes.
Well, I saw this fox...
And while the conversation is happening, Candy is also giving Evelyn a very curious look, but returns to the conversation.
She seems to look legitimately surprised. She like before Marcus was kind of continued on. He was just like, "Oh, well, I take that back then." She did not seem to know what that actually that symbolism also meant.
Got it.
Yeah, 'cause
Nods her
Fox,
head and returns the conversation.
yeah. You see, foxes. I saw this fox. My master's. We were out in this little, like, what? The I've been actually near Einar's place. It was like a frozen land, and there was this porcupine kind of crawling across the snow. We saw, and out of the snow, coming underneath the porcupine, a fox came up underneath it through the snow and bit its belly, where the coils, where all the prickly parts weren't.
Huh.
Really? Breaching the defenses, so well, makes sense now they were known as being sneaky. Jeez.
Yeah, they're clever. And obviously, you never want to get a fox in a hen house.
I'll take the compliment of being clever.
You know what I never understood, right? So I don't know too much about animals, right? But I know that typically, right, when their eyes are positioned in front, that usually means that they're predators, whereas on the other sides, it would be prey, right? Now, what's interesting is that it seems as though foxes are typically like that, but even then, they have
And she kind of like motions towards her pupils and kind of makes like a splaying motion. They're usually spread apart. It's weird. It's like they're kind of both.
It's true, they're a little more spread apart than the average predator, I suppose.
Yes. I don't know. I just always found that interesting. Again, I'm much more of a plants and rocks girl, I suppose. But
Yeah, fair enough. I don't know,
Anyway,
what's your
chopping her
favorite
chin.
animal?
Oh, I guess I'm a fox then, huh?
Well, I mean, it's not what you necessarily are, Candy. I think it's something we'll have to think about. I mean, if I had to pick an animal for you, what would I pick?
isn't there there's this one small, seemingly very small, but very strong one, a wolver.
Wolverine.
It's like a wolf, right?
Yeah, I can see that. They're kind of cute and cuddly, very sweet at a glance, but if you piss them off, they will tear you to shreds.
I'm cute, am I?
It, like press their hands to her cheeks with a bright grin.
Of course, you're just dang adorable, Candy. It's one of the first things I thought when I met you.
Oh, you're too nice. Wolverine, huh? Funny enough, the first thing that kind of popped in my head was a goldfish.
Goldfish, really?
Yeah.
He's a drop.
She's like, yeah, I mean, because oftentimes goldfish are sort of like, kept in like this little bowl and whatnot, and like sort of their whole life. But honestly, like they have to know, like deep down, there's like this big, vast ocean out there, right?
I suppose so, but aren't goldfish freshwater?
Yeah, I think I'm a goldfish.
Huh. Candy in her 10-second memory.
No, she heard you. She still thinks it's correct.
No, I was just referring to the goldfish's 10-second memory.
Oh, got it.
What was our attention span? Or both, probably.
Yeah, it's a myth anyways. It's just something you used to say.
Yeah.
Goldfish. I can see it, I suppose. They're like little pretty things that just want to try to get bigger in the world. I could see that. But what you there, Einar? What are you? What's your big favorite animal, or if not favorite, one you think you're most attuned to?
He turns the page of his book again.
What you reading?
Hmm? What?
What were you reading? What are you reading?
Oh, it's a book called Mystic's Foretelling.
Kenny's gonna try to lean over, take a peek at the pages.
So what is in this book that I would have ascertained in probably the 3 hours this conversation happened?
Basically the book is a lot about prophecy, foretelling, and just a lot of like, like those mystics that travel in those kind of like gypsies.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff, but it's more along the lines of things to do with prophecies of the demigods and gods and such, and that it's possible to kind of change your destiny or predict certain events. A little bit of mumbo jumbo, but yeah.
Is this interesting?
It's got some interesting information, but it's also kind of mumbo jumbo here and there.
Huh.
Mostly about prophecies.
Kind of like them prophecies like, he who shall be king shall pull his sword from this rock.
Yes, stuff like that. That's
Wasn't
just
it from an anvil?
I think it was from us. Oh,
No. I remember reading about this. It's commonly believed, but no. Oh, she kind of for a moment she seemed rather adamant in this, but like for a quick moment she kind of becomes almost like self-aware for a moment, and kind of her cheeks darken just a tiny bit, where it's just like, oh, sorry, inner bard came out. I just know a lot of stories.
you know. Oh, go ahead, Storm.
Would you have flipped through the pages at all, like kind of like skim through and look through, or would you have read it from like front to back?
He's a patient kind of person, so he would just read it page by page, wouldn't flip through it the first time.
Okay. Go
on. Reading his book, he's talking about destinies and prophecy and such. And it got me thinking. All of us here, to a point, have a craft that we did before we came together.
I believe so.
Evelyn, you craft music. I literally craft weapons and other things. I'd go so far as to say Marcus crafts works of art.
Well, that's fine. Nice of you to say.
Candy, you also craft things at a forge now? Technically.
She just looks at Einar with a bit of a quirk to her brow. Is just like,
Really? That's it?
It's like, it's like, you're an amazing musician. You're a great artist. I'm a great smith. Candy, you made a nail.
She crafts friendships.
Candy's defense, I mean, and she kind of looks over, and then her eyes kind of slowly drift towards the cupcakes that are off inside of the bag. It's just, is sweetness a craft?
I suppose.
You know, you guys miss what Candy truly crafts here.
Memories?
No, Candy is the master craftsman of friendship.
I suppose that's one way of putting it. Anyway, where I was taking you.
there's like a distant look on her face, but she's still smiling and just kind of nods her head.
Oh, that's so nice.
The point of me bringing this up, and I'm sure Damien, he crafts letters. That's craft, I'm sure.
Candy, as it is probably already known, but I do not only do music, I work on multiple different things. Marcus is not only a painter and an artist, but also is capable of many things. We are simply bringing out arbitrary facts of our personalities and skill sets. You have plenty much more that you do as well.
Tilts her head.
Like?
Well, I mean, and she kind of gestures loosely towards Licorice. Well, for definitely, you are definitely a craft as far as the your combat. That is for sure. It's very interesting often, seeing you and Einar, for example, in battle, the contrasts in which you are able to bring out, and yet, oddly enough, to nearly the same effectivity is the word? Yes. I find the things that you do in combat to be rather impressive.
So good at fighting?
Well, yeah, I mean, you see, and kind of gestures over towards Einar, the way he had kind of said it was more of an artisan's type craft. So I didn't quite say anything, but the truth is, I mean, and kind of gestures over towards Marcus, you have a very perceptive eye and are excellent in combat. Then kind of
She
points
does not
over
have a
towards Einar.
perceptive eye.
No, I was
It's a
talking about
Marcus.
Marcus.
Oh, okay.
The nat 20
It's
boy.
Is just points towards Einar. Is just at least when it comes to him, I know that forging and well, smithing is something that takes a very much long time, and he's practically unfazed in regards to that. There's a lot of dedication within him, and in your particular case, well, not only do you seem to be the most keen when it came to bringing the lot of us together, which is very helpful, but other than that, I mean, yes, you have combat. Yes, you have your. She kind of smirks a little bit at that, and very much is saying this in a very lighthearted manner. It's just, yes, you have your new hobby as a smith, but other than that, I mean, these connections are no laughing matter. And kind of gestures towards a lot of the party.
Looks at all of them and then kind of looks at you curiously.
Connections?
Well, I'm a bard, right? My job is, yes, music, but it's also for the sake of bringing people together and research, amongst several other things, really. A lot of us are also different, but and she kind of thinks a little bit more. So I suppose in that particular case, I know what it's like when people have a sort of natural charisma, and well, you definitely are one of them.
Kind of blinks at that.
You think so?
Yeah, I do.
Hmm.
Presses her hands to her cheeks at that, thinking thoughtfully.
I always thought you were the more charismatic one, though. I mean, you're really good at, like, talking to people and convincing them and getting,
And like looks over towards the horses.
getting animals and people and stuff to like you.
She raises her hands and kind of waves them in a, almost in defense. It's just, hey, that was never supposed to be a comparison to make, Candy. I was specifically talking about your strengths. And the fact is that, yes, while I am capable of those things, well, I'm somebody who's trained at them for a while. You genuinely do have something that is more natural. She kind of quirks an eyebrow, just like, sorry, I worded that a little bit weird, but, yes.
She kind of holds your stare for like a long moment, a pleasant smile having not left her face the whole time, and there's kind of like that blip of kind of unnatural silence before she's just kind of like,
Well, that's really nice. I really appreciate the compliment. Thank you. I'll keep working hard.
Marcus is just gonna do an insight check here on Candy, even though I'm pretty sure I know that he just wants an insight check if this is if the concept of what's been brought up is really bothering her.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna do it too.
18.
1 second. Yeah, 22.
Yes, it is very much bothering her, increasingly so by the minute.
I figured. Candy, can I say something? I mean, it's nice how I now brought up the fact that I'm a painter and all, but can I be honest with you?
Of course, always.
When I first started, I was bloody atrociously awful at it. I mean, a straight line gave me difficulty. I mean, in my case, anything I got now, like, I mean, if you think you're good, it's just hard work. I mean, you want to do something. If there's something you want to do, it's just got to require you to, put your effort into it, work hard, and I guarantee you could be as good as any of us at any of these things. Heck, if you're interested, I could teach you how to paint.
Well, learning new skills is always fun.
Well, yeah, but it's only if you want to do it, obviously. I'm not trying to pressure you, but...
No. I'd never say that. I appreciate it. I really do. But, really, I'm good. I'm learning new things, and, I'm surrounded by very amazing people. My gosh. But, really, you don't need to worry. I'm very curious about all of you, is all.
You sure there, Candy? I mean... You don't have
She
to try.
gives a little fist pump into the air.
Of course.
Don't want to pry or anything. But, I mean, just to let you know, I mean, we're all friends here, right, Candy? Nobody in this group is in any way superior than anybody else. We all got our strengths and weaknesses. Heck, you could bench press me like nothing.
Yeah, and well, I mean, on the opposite hand, when it comes to comparisons, sure, you're still working on a craft, but in my case, I am not very great combatively.
What? No, you're always so useful in battle. I mean, you're able to make the enemy, like, sort of waver with their, swinging and whatnot, and then you empower the rest of us.
Well, yes, but, I mean, I missed a rapier stab on a fallen shadow that was bigger than me. I don't think that counts as combatively great. Sure, tactically perhaps, I can do some things, but
Well-
I don't know about otherwise.
Well, to be fair, Einar's a good fighter, and he missed a lot too.
I was about to say the same. I don't know, I missed a few of the times they were knocked on the ground as well, but...
Y'all are fucked up. Y'all are fucked up.
Regardless of that, I did not mean to bring up anybody's insecurities or concerns. I simply brought it up because I had an idea.
Wait, what? No! Insecure. I'm not being insecure. I think they're sort of blowing it out of proportion.
Really, like, cause she like has like a hand over her hand, and she whispers to him.
I think they're kind of blowing it out of proportion. I'm fine. But what was the point you were getting at?
Einar just narrows his eyes over at Candy. Look, we're heading to Justice Landing, and there's going to be a lot of fighting on the way, and probably when we get there. Likely, gladiatorial combat and stuff of that nature as well. So, I'm reading this book, and it's talking about prophecies and destinies and all that stuff. All of us were omens, and that's typically a big deal. A lot of stuff to do with, destiny, prophecy, and things of that nature. But I think, ultimately, us as a group, what we're looking forward to do most is craft our own destiny as much as we can. So, to that effect, I thought, well, we're also all craftsmen in some way or form, no matter how experienced or new we are. So I then thought, what if we called ourselves Destiny's Forge?
Huh?
Hmm.
That's not a
For the
bad
name of the
name.
group?
Yes.
Hmm.
Purse's lips.
So is that a no on the Cupcake Squad?
To be honest, the Cupcake Squad can be a subsect of whatever we actually call ourselves.
Right, of course.
You and Marcus, no?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're the Cupcake Team. Cupcake Squad is all of us.
I'm not too sure about that. At least for my personal taste.
You don't like cupcakes?
Sweets have never been something that I've particularly indulged in.
Aw, alright.
But,
It's not as ego driven as, calling ourselves a pantheon or anything of that. So I thought perhaps you guys would like it.
That's kind of got a ring to it, I'll admit.
She kind of rubs a little bit at her chin. Hmm.
Evelyn, you're a bard.
Hmm?
You're a bard, yes. I
Of course.
I am no skald or bard or anything. In fact, I'm merely a hobbyist writing. If you read our prologue that I wrote, it's probably hot garbage, to be honest. But either which way, what would a bard think upon hearing the name Destiny's Forge? That not bring intrigue and wonder and perhaps awe?
She kind of thinks about it. And then also a little bit of a twinkle kind of comes into her eye as she just like, actually, I don't believe that name is bad at all. No, I genuinely think that if a bard were to happen upon such, I do believe so, yes. And, well, I guess because of my position, that only gives me the responsibility of spreading that name. So, Destiny's Forge is definitely nice, though, and the smile on her face kind of reverts to something a little bit more concerned. It's just, uh, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sorry if this is a bit offensive, but, um, when it comes to your identity, I've noticed that you do enjoy to insert forge and other means of artistry and artisanship into things, and, well, um, not that there's anything bad with that necessarily, but I mean, Marcus has glowing hands, and yet his identity is very much not based off of, well, everything else. He's a painter, amongst other things. And while, of course, Candy is an animal loving, sweets loving, kind girl, at the same time, she is also a warrior, right? Um, I noticed that when it comes to you particularly, your uh, identity is very much wrapped around being a blacksmith.
He just kind of lofts up a brow at that. You know, anybody from Marcus's village that didn't leave identifies as a farmer more than likely. I didn't plan to leave my village. I was kind of forced to leave it due to circumstances.
I'm not going to force you, but we were just answering questions, and I suppose I don't have too much to. I suppose I'm not in the position to judge, given that I wasn't able to give much information myself.
I, I she kind of looks around at the others and sort of looking for means of approval. Just, I'm sure the others wouldn't mind if you would like to tell us.
Hmm, I do not think that is a tale ready for today.
All right. But with all that being said, and she kind of wipes her hands back and forth, I think Destiny's Forge is fine. What about the lot of you all?
I was merely just workshopping the idea anyway.
Destiny Cupcake Forge.
Does Einar seem at all...
The Destiny Forgers of Cupcakes.
Does Einar seem any at all offended or hurt?
You're gonna have to insight for that.
I know I fucking am. I need to get fucking expertise in this shit, man. I hate not being able to extract. Oh well, I hate not being able to extract the truth 90% of the time.
We're a super insightful party for the most part.
Eh,
I said most part.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you're the one exception because our cleric is also obviously super insightful. So,
Something tells me that while Candy isn't, somebody else might. Stares in the distance.
What
I
would
have
say-
proficiency in insight.
Well, that would be nice now, wouldn't it?
What I'll say is, it's a bit of a soft spot, a tender wound.
Hmm.
I'll just leave it there for now.
Got it.
But no, he's not really offended. He just called him out for pretty much identifying him as a blacksmith.
Oh, okay. So less either more on the defensive side then, almost rearing up a little.
He's very nonchalant about
Okay.
kind of deflecting.
Okay. Then, kind of noticing that, she kind of like nods a little bit before kind of clapping her hands together. And I believe I'm just going to play music for the meantime, though, if you all don't mind.
oh, go right ahead.
Mm. She kind of looks around at the scan of everyone and gives almost a bit of a concerned gaze before eventually she closes her eyes and will just begin to play a bit of a tune.
Marcus.
I
Oh.
just had another thought. Though we've had some pretty heavy discussions just now.
Favorite animal and color, yes.
Super heavy.
The heaviest.
Right. So I was just thinking back on what Demira had mentioned with that shadow shawl item that we got from our test. What do you guys think about this whole war thing?
War. This is more of a Judah forgetting thing than a me or Evelyn forgetting thing.
We haven't really seen it yet, but even on my little island, I've heard things and tales about
You're
it.
referring to between the and I can't remember. It's the non-magic versus magic, folks.
Urbani versus Chimeran.
Yeah, or the Urbani versus Chimera problem, right?
Yes, the Chimerans, they seem to want to, well, for lack of a better word, nearly end magic or control it, but the Urbani wish to let it roam free.
She rubbing kind of rubbing the pointer finger and her thumb together, creating a little pink spark inside of her hand, a spectral hand, pink in color, kind of reaches up and proceeds to stroke a little bit at her chin, and is just, for some reason, I feel as though I have a problem with that.
Which part?
The whole ending all magic thing, as the hand kind of begins to move over towards words Marcus, before just kind of pointing at him.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not exactly a fan of the whole let's control magic and force people to do the way they want to do, right? I believe, independence is a valuable thing, and I mean, obviously you need rules and restrictions in cases. You shouldn't be controlling it either, and definitely not just getting rid of it.
I feel really bad that we're having this conversation when Brian's character, the fucking Chimerian, is not here.
Yeah.
Just passed out and asleep in the wagon.
And I guess in that case,
I'm sure this will
It'll be
not be
fine,
the
actually.
first time this discussion
Or
happens.
the last time,
Or
yeah.
the last time.
Oh yeah, this is not. But she kind of,
This will not be the last time it comes up. I promise.
she just kind of gestures for everybody to kind of lower their voices a little bit, though, and the hand floats over towards Damien, just points at him.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Candy, I have a feeling I know what you think about this already, but what do you think about this?
Candy?
Oh, holds her chin thoughtfully.
Well, I'm not super informed on all the politics stuff, but I don't think there's any issue with people using magic, really. I mean, I have magical stuff that I do, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. Well, I don't suppose you're. She kind of thinks about it pretty heavily before. Are we all more or less magical?
Well, I mean,
you have your whole rune or whatever that is exactly that you do. And, well, you shoot bolts out of your hands, and, well, I'm currently doing this, and the hand kind of gestures at herself before then pointing over towards Candy, and just, and, well, yeah.
Yeah, and Syl is super magical himself.
that's true, and I mean,
So.
technically what I do, my master used to say it's called chi manipulation, which I guess is a type of magic.
I guess what I'm getting at here is considering what we are and what Demir has told us, what past omens have done. This isn't something I expect to get an answer to today from anybody. Well, the war right now seems to be the major defining points of when we currently live. What do we wish to do about it?
I mean, at the moment, is there anything we can even do about it? I mean, kind of outside our preview at this point, ain't it?
Perhaps at the meantime.
Yes, in the meantime, but more importantly, depending on where we go, Justice Landing is neutral. The floating city was Orabani, and the other two were Chimerian. It might be difficult for some of us, if not all of us, to even travel within a Chimerian city. I mean, Marcus, you have glowing hands. I have pointy ears. Even I was shunned a little bit in my home village because of it.
I kind of see your point. No pun intended.
Fuck. I hated that. Thanks. She just chuckles a little bit to herself.
But I mean, yeah, no, I get it. I mean, obviously we're kind of shoehorned into one area, I suppose, as our group is. Question for you, Storm. How are half orcs treated in this world on both sides of this kingdom, for generally?
Orobani basically welcomes all races. They're more suspicious of Chimeran races outside of humans, but I mean, if you're a half-orc spellcaster using like wild fire magic, usually that's a big telltale sign that you're like probably not accepted in Chimerans.
Yeah.
On the other hand, Chimerans are very restrictive against who they pretty much are. Yeah, like if you're a certain race, if you're Dragonborn, elves, any of that sort, you are instantly just kind of like either captured or enslaved or
I
a
would take that
variety of
the
different
likes of
things.
I would take that the likes of a social mage, like a bard, would probably not be under fire as much.
They have their own types of magics. They anything that isn't chaotic. They're not a big fan of like sorcerer type mages.
Mm.
Um, uh, they use mostly kind of like controlled magic, enchantment magics, necromancy, healing magics. They're not a big fan of druidic magics either. Any sort of natural like maybe natural lightning or that type of or earth or that type of stuff. But
That-
anything that's controlled, mind type magics, yeah,
So Key would probably be one that they get away with.
yeah, keys not, yeah, keys. But you do have glowing hands, and that's a big like. Also, you shoot some bolts, so also.
I can't
Yeah.
help it, my key explodes. Yeah, exactly. No, as I said, but Key normally, like his master, doesn't have the glowing hand shooting bolt thing. That's a Marcus thing. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I get your point. I guess we're kind of given our group makeup, we're kind of shoehorned in one position here.
Well, yes.
Kind of looks over at the sleeping Chimerian cleric.
The biggest issue you had was Alexander with his giant glowing wings that don't go away,
Oh,
but
yeah.
he is no longer part of the party.
Yeah, I mean, my glowing hands. I get some thicker gloves. We're okay.
Yeah, a lot of you like the biggest issue I think you guys have is probably Marcos, and even then it's not as bad as like just being a dragonborn like with an ice face or something like that.
Mm.
And if Candy ever
But
uses
now,
their ability, then there would be huge problems there because that's about as wild as magic gets.
Marcus is the biggest issue for now.
For now.
For now. When
Who
is
knows
Ray
what'll
coming
happen.
over to take over biggest issue?
See, like she's in this weird place where it's like she is okay, but I think at the moment, but I think later on she will not be okay.
What do you mean?
Greed, magic, she just wants
Ah.
magic. She doesn't care.
In other words,
Hmm.
I'm visually the biggest problem. You would be the one to like be walking in and like stealing magical books underneath people's faces, and like that's gonna cause issues. Well, I mean, I suppose with these is a little harder to hide, but I mean, at the same time, I mean, thicker gloves. I mean, I can mask the hands. I've done it before.
Right. Well, those glowing hands aren't normal for anybody, really. You know, Evelyn, you have your finger. Candy, I think you said you had something on you. I don't remember what. I apologize. I myself, well, you guys seen me. I look completely normal except for the ears. Who knows what Sleeping Beauty over here has? But as we grow in our powers, who knows how we're going to change?
Huh? Kind of like if my hands are glowing, what? Like my whole body just starts going up.
What if it happens?
I
What
It
if you
will at
turn
level
into a
18.
human glow stick?
Evelyn kind of puts a hand on her chin, kind of letting the mage hand disappear as she kind of thinks it's just. Do, is that a thing that can happen with manifestations?
What?
Is that a thing that
Well,
can happen with manifestations growing?
Glowing.
growing what? Oh, glowing?
No, well,
Like
glowing, but like also growing. You know,
are
like
manifestations becoming more prevalent?
Oh, it's possible, yeah.
that's kind of hilarious / terrifying because that means wow.
But it could be in the form of amplified, or it could be in the form of another effect.
Hmm.
I mean, the
But
fun.
your character's none of that.
I mean, the fun thing about my character class is at level 17, he literally does become a beacon of glowing permanent light.
Wonderful.
I suppose what I'm getting at is we should consider in the future where we wish to find ourselves. Should we need to intervene in such war, I don't know what exactly we're going to be dealing with in the future by any stretch of the imagination. Could be dragons, could be the war, could be other things, who knows? But the one thing that we can't get away from, despite all the other possible dire threats we'll find ourselves coming across, it's going to be this war.
that's for sure. Yes.
I suppose it is
I,
going
for
to.
one, don't like what the Chimerans are doing.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you.
I mean, for a lot of us, magic is simply a means of expression, and there are others who, well, really, not many of, like, I mean, for my case, yes, I had to study and I had to work in order to get where I was, but, I mean, really all of us did, but, I mean, even then, there are others that still have that innate abilities and whatnot that, well, they aren't able to help.
I can't really control mine.
But that's the thing, right? The Chimerans, they want you to feel bad about that.
Bad nothing. As far as I'm aware, the Chimeran wants you to die for that.
Exactly.
I think for the time being, if we wish to go to a Chimeran city, it should be sooner rather than later. Me personally, unless they have the world's greatest smith there for me to challenge in a smith off and beat, I'm not too interested.
I mean,
Yeah, there.
yeah, same here. I'm thinking we stick to the other side. I mean, our Chimeran companion might have something to say different when he wakes up, but for the time being, that's why we're
Yeah.
starting in neutral territory, though, right?
And, I can say that in the event that we ever did need to, um, while this cloak is nice and all, I would be able to lend it to maybe one of you at some point. I'm capable of carrying my own when it comes to keeping a low profile.
Well, I'm pretty good at keeping myself hidden when necessary.
Couldn't tell.
Looks down at the hands, but she knows.
Well, I mean, the hands, like I said, gloves is all I need, and honestly, it's like, for the sake, if I put the hood on, my hands are still glowing, right?
Are you putting the hood on?
Yeah, just for shits and giggles, Marcus. Let's see if it works. It puts the hood on. Are my hands
Well,
still glowing?
She'll kind of take it
Where
off
you?
and pull it over to him.
Okay. As you put the hood over and kind of pull the hood over your head, the entire face kind of blackens into like this kind of almost like this shadow that you can't really see through. It kind of looks like it's just veiled, and like it doesn't look like it's actually some sort of magic outside of the fact that there's sunlight and it kind of pierces through where it shouldn't. But when you look down at your hands, it's still glowing.
Yeah, not going to really help much.
Where have you put your hands?
Huh?
Have you got your hand? Like, are you just having your hands by your side and out in front of you?
Yeah, like I'm just looking at my hands to see if they're still glowing after I put the hood up.
Yeah, it's still glowing.
See, so I mean, huh? Unless I'm going to take the hood off my head and like put it over my hand and see what happens as my hand just disappear.
You don't see any shadowy effect. You just see your hand still glowing.
Well, there you go. I mean, it's not going to do me a lot of good, unfortunately.
Yeah, I suppose I'll keep on to it for at least the meantime. But, I suppose I'll have a sort of emergency plan in case I ever do need to help the lot of you out with something like that.
Well, it's just something to think about.
Well, I'm glad that you're thinking about it. These are questions that we should be asking ourselves.
Seems to make sense.
Yeah. I'm glad that you're, well, I mean, helping us prepare with all of this.
Of course. I'd be remiss in my duty, he says, kind of sarcastically.
Well, I find it rather responsible of you.
Well, in any case, those are tomorrow's problems. I say we head back down to Party Central and try to relax and try to live free while we can, I suppose.
I suppose you're right. And she'll continue playing her flute.
Marcus will hum along and just thinks to himself, by the way, Candy, you think they got any special food at this Jester's place?
Once again, had been kind of zoning out a bit, but at the question, she once again kind of holds her chin thoughtfully.
Maybe they got their own special cupcakes?
Yeah, maybe. Wonder if we could compare. You know what, Candy? That might be a good personal goal for us.
Oh, what's that?
I say, and he's going to take out like a little pen and paper, we rate every place we come across and try to find the best cupcake we visit.
But with all the work and effort that they're putting into it, aren't they all going to be just 10s?
Well, that could be true, but there's always a chance one cupcake might just be slightly better than the others, and if we get the recipe from them, we can make everybody's cupcakes better.
Oh, that's a good point. Okay, yeah, let's do that.
Marcus
They're
says,
going to single-handedly destroy the cupcake industry.
as Marcus and Candy start their very own blog of their what you call the frickin' food review people.
Mm-hmm.
The Yelp review.
critics.
Yeah, the cupcake Yelpers.
God fucking damn it.
Marcus is like, Candy, you doing okay?
Yeah, of course. Why do you ask?
I don't know, you seem a little dour at the moment.
Kind of strains her back at that, kind of eyes going a little wide.
Really? I thought I was acting the same as always. Is something wrong?
No, maybe it's just me. He's going to insight check that.
Go ahead.
Oof.
Oof. Hard to say.
Well, I mean, if you're okay with it, you're cool.
You mean okay with the cupcake things? Of course. I love cupcakes. Why would I turn down something to do with cupcakes?
Oh, of course. And then Marcus will continue driving the horses onward.
Candy. What if you become the world's best cupcake maker?
Like really good at baking them?
Yes.
Who knows? Maybe.
Is that something you want to do?
Well, like I said, I always like trying new things. Who knows? Maybe I'll end up being super good at it too. Just like with foraging.
I'm just thinking, most of the cupcakes I've seen, they've been pretty simple. Imagine if you made a cupcake and did a like icing unicorn on the top.
Hmm. Hmm. I mean, that sort of takes some drawing skills, but yeah, I'm sure with enough practice that could be something I could do. Who knows? I'm always super excited to pick up new skills.
I'm on an insight
Go ahead.
because I detect some sarcasm. Okay.
No idea. Kind of just noticing like the odd stare that both Marcus and Einar have been giving her. She just kind of gives a little thoughtful tilt of her head. But she already asked if something was wrong with Marcus, and he insisted everything's good. So she just kind of turns her attention out from the cart, just humming to herself and swinging her legs back and forth.
Marcus is like,
Evelyn
well, I
is playing
guess
her
since we got a
music
long
and
trip,
minding her
anybody up for a road game?
What was that, Judah?
Evelyn is playing her flute and minding her business.
Uh,
Okay.
I'd join you, Marcus, but I should really get back to my book.
When Marcus dies of boredom on the on the cart.
Think we'll leave it there.
sounds good.
Yay.
Woo.